各位法友吉祥如意。
How you all doing? Tashidele to all the Sangha around the world, and thank you for joining us on the live stream.
大家都还好吗？谢谢全球的法友们在网上参加我们的今天的法教。
강들이 다다 주토 가사 가니든 나와사지를 치료 참하게 라마는데 왕하고 건난 그 요래 드리테 같이 시해준 다음에 요래 같이 왕 찍을 쇼고 말이 전인 그 말이 대냠이 맞지를 니와치 보여야 돼 시에서 그 요래 됐다는 그 말이 같이 왕 같이 톱나 쇼고 그래서 그래 내가 동나지 요래 왕신이 그 말이 속에 왕적 봐도 접는 그 말이 속에 강도 그 말이 되나 사직다 냠이 계시나 오 사직을 참가해 나 탐지 자 탐지 싫은데 저기 참가요래지 들이 제일 많이 듣다 랭담을 가다 나만사 속에더니 통상나 만나서 예담나 만나서 요래 내가 왕시 봐서 동문이더니 강내 왕 같이 톱나 쇼고를 했지.
And today we are receiving the
今天我们会
Vajrapani
接受
empowerment.
金刚手菩萨的灌顶。
There might be a few newer Dharma
今天
friends
或许
here,
有比
and
较
there's
多的
one
这个新的法
important
友，
thing that you should
对于
understand,
这个灌顶
and
的
that
背
is now
景，
nowadays many lamas confer many
在
different
过去可
empowerments
能
in
有
various
许多不
centers
同的
around
上
the
师给予
world.
不同的灌顶。
And regarding the receiving of
有
an
关
empowerment,
收到
there
这个不
are
同的灌
basically
顶，
two different ways of
可以有
doing
不同
that.
的方式
Some
来理
people
解
say
这个接
that
受灌顶。
it's better not to
有些人
receive
认
too
为
many
可以不
empowerments.
要接受太多的
Because if
灌
you
顶。
receive an empowerment and then you
如
don't
果你
practice it
不
well,
接受灌
then
顶，
that's
你
a
没
great
有好好
fault.
的来修法，这
So
样是
that's
没有太大的
actually
过犯。
not
但
true
是
at
这是不
all.
对的
So then
见
the other
解。
view is that it's the more
事实
empowerments you
上，你
receive,
有
the better it is.
接
And
受
there's
到更
actually
多的灌
something
顶是更
meaningful
好
to
的。
that. So we can see which one we should pick, the first one or the second one.
当然这两
So
种灌
because if
顶
you
呢，你
practice
可
a
以
single
自己选
deity,
择
it's
第一
okay to
种和第
practice
二
a
种
single
灌顶。
deity. However, it is important to understand that when you practice just a single
那在灌顶
deity,
的时候有不同
all the
的本尊，
empowerments, all the
但
deities
是
from
你
whom you
在
have
修
received
行的时候，
empowerments
你
are
在修
actually
一个
complete.
本尊，
So
你
it's
要
therefore
知道它是
sufficient
具
to
足所
practice
有
a
的本
single
尊的。
deity and still receive empowerments. Because it is said within the expanse of
在本书
primordial
字的这
wisdom, all the
个
Buddhas are
前提
one.
下，所有的本尊
And
是合
so
为
for
一
this
的、
reason,
等同的。
we really shouldn't say at all that you
所以我
shouldn't
们不应
receive
该从这个
empowerment
观点
because
来
it's
讲，
a
我们不
great
应该
fault if you
说
can't
你不应
practice
该
it.
接受这个
So
灌
there's
顶。
all kinds of different empowerments and there's
那
different
当然，在灌顶
lineages,
有许多不
different
同
Yidam
的本尊、
deities,
不同的
and
传
various
承、
different individuals, different
不
kinds of
同的这
practitioners
个
and gurus
法
and so
友们。
on. But whichever one it
但是
is, what is the actual meaning of the empowerment? That is
怎样的
what
传
needs to
承、
be
怎样的本
understood.
尊、怎
And
样
if
的
you
灌
really
顶，我们
understand
应
the
该了
meaning
解这
of
个灌顶
empowerment,
的意
then
义
you
何
see
在。
that actually the
如
more
果你了解
empowerments
灌
you
顶的意义
receive,
的
the
话，
better
然
it
后
is.
在这个前提之下，你能够接到更多的灌顶，事实上是更好的。
왕은 맨날 가르쳐요. 라마 서거 왕나무들이 미지의 왕성을 왕도당만 미지의 가래 미거래지 미지는 가래 미지 매도가 사용 미네 때는 요거지는 들이 매도 카게 들이 매도 저걸 매도 잡사면 사무용 거래 빼제리 매도 사용 따위도 가요래 되는 들이 무슨 셉긴 탐지게 줄 샘기는 사제니 이제 사제 찾았으면 까는 넌 샘데 우리 사제가 졌어요 그래서 답을 뭐지 사제는 소리 늘 대식는 뭐지 대식는 뭐지 봤대 맹 약고다 하면 동물맹데 대식 가래지 샘 코는 거 내려고들이 아기지 하고서 내어릭 봐들 사제고 막 터야요 그래 샘은 내려 맞도록 코와 차는 거래 챕터 내록대 도서로 상기 착기요래 내록도 맞다고 제발 대 내록도 고쳐라들 민지요 왕들이 몇도가 사오는 민들이 습기 사제에서 민지요래들 대 서와요말 남바요말 좀다 제발요말 도난 도를 쭉 참말을 사제가 있는 거 셈이 요래 셈이 요네 감 쪽딘지 물을 못 든디 내가 고가리 요래 맞아 수남 쳔보지 물을 못 지키 봐들이 빵하도지 뜨고 모르좀 들이 민지 왕가 고가비 요래 로를 룩인다라지 고가비 말이 빼나 때렸다 당 왕지선 하대 그래서 그래서 톱톱 요래지 무슨 남들이 왕가 도나 룩tok 요 말 그래서 때 물을 못 지 죽버들이 고가리 때는 왕쇼 윤지 가래들이 민지 가래 민고 샘데 산지엘 민고래지 이렇게 마미버샘 가래들 자고래지 자고래지 미버샘 가래들 잡소래지 오 산지 습지지 봐라 저런데 잡소니 제발 요래 어때때 저런데 맞으려 줄이 능해도 왜 저런 맞으려 능해 요래지 오 습지인들 가운데 능해 요래지 오 민소는 대화도 잡지처럼 왕 요래 랑나 상황이 오래 이런 핑크 요래 나고 잡아 땡을 나서 같은 저건 핑크 요래 뒤따오도 보는데 왕 같이 탐이 쇼고래 대신도 뭐 요리들이 왕 사우무데 요래 그리 왕 레이션이 사우무디 첫세자 첫대에서 약그 요래 빼대다 그러지 근데 왕 사우 사람 나오는 때 쳤다 왔는지 착그 요래 대외 왕쇼고 그랬지
So what's the reason that we have to receive
那
an
我们为什么要
empowerment?
接受灌顶呢？ 所
The
谓的灌
empowerment
顶
is
就
called
是
the
所
ripening
谓的成熟的
empowerment.
灌顶。
No matter who confers the
无论是
empowerment, the
谁
purpose
给我们
of
这
any
个灌
empowerment
顶，
is to
主
mature
要
or
是
to
要帮助我
ripen the
们的心
mind.
智能够成熟。
And that's the real meaning
这
of
就是
empowerment, the real
真
purpose
灌
of
顶真正
receiving
的
an
意义
empowerment.
跟目
So
的，
what is to be
到
ripened
底
or
是要成熟
matured?
什么呢？
For example, it's just like the seed
就
of
好
a
像一个花的
flower
种子
sprouting and then growing
开
into a
始发芽，
flower.
慢
And
慢的
then
长
once it
成
is a
这个
flower, from a single flower, many hundreds of more seeds then emerge.
当一朵花成熟
So
的时候，慢慢会有
the seed,
千百个
like
种
the
子
seed of
成
a
熟。
flower during an empowerment, what is that seed actually?
那这个种子
Actually,
到
all
底是什么
sentient beings possess that
事实上，
seed.
所有的众生都
The
具
Buddha
有这个种
Shakyamuni had
子，
said that all sentient beings are
所
actually
有的众
Buddhas.
生
So that is
本
the
众生本
potential,
是
the
佛，这
cause
是释迦牟尼
for
佛过去
Buddhahood.
所说的。
Gambopa
大
said
师
in the Jewel
在
Ornament
这
of
个解脱庄严
Liberation,
法论也
the
讲到，
cause is Buddha
因就
nature.
是本
So
佛
it is
性，
given this excellent name,
那
Buddha
给
nature
我
or
们非常
Tathagata
好的
Garba,
那个如来
which
藏这个
means
佛性
the essence of
的
those
这个名词，
gone, the such, like the thus gone ones.
如
And
来
so what does that mean to go to go beyond, basically? It is that when you recognize the true nature of the
当你
mind,
了解到
then you
到
can go
你的本
beyond,
质
which
的
means
时候，
you can attain the state of
你
awakening.
能够
And if you do
懂
not
得
realize the
顿
nature of
悟。
the mind, then you are in
如
samsara.
果你了解
So
心
if
性
you
的话，
realize it, you
你
are
会
a
真
Buddha,
正
and
成
not
熟。
realizing it, you are in samsara. So
那如
that's
果
the
不了解
difference.
本性，就
And
必
in
须
order
在
to
六道轮
realize the
回。
nature of the mind, we receive the ripening empowerment,
那我们
which is
能
just
够为
like
了要帮助我们了
a
解心性，
ripening
我们
the seed of
受
a
这
flower
个
into a
成
flower.
熟的灌顶，
So we
就好
learn
像
during the empowerment
让
that
种
sentient
子成
beings
熟、开
can
发、
ripen
成长为
into
花朵，
Buddhas.
让众
And
生面
that's
对
the only difference
慢
between
慢
Buddhas and
成
sentient
熟成
beings. It's
佛
just
陀。
maybe the temporary appearance, but then not temporarily we speak about Buddhists and non-Buddhists and so on,
但是从
but really or different
最
lineages
近来讲，我们
and
或
so
许
on.
会
But
有二元对
actually,
立的
all
讲法，
sentient
佛
beings
教徒
of the
非佛，
6
佛教
realms
徒
of
等等这样
samsara
划
possess
分。
Buddha
但是我们要
nature.
知道，就近
They
来
have the
讲，
same nature,
六道
and
轮回的一切
yet
众生都
it
具
is
有佛
only
性。
the precious human body that is endowed
我们
with
唯一的不
6
同，
elements or constituents
那我们的
that has the karmic fortune, the
每
great
个众
merit
生
to
有不同的
accomplish
这个
enlightenment. It is only the precious human body that has the opportunity to receive a ripening empowerment and then practice the Vajrayana. Any sentient being in the other 6 realms do not have those opportunities. And of course, they can still receive the blessings of an empowerment, for example, some benefit, but they are not actually able to engage in practice. They cannot really accomplish the real purpose of the empowerment. So it's really only the precious human body, a precious human being that has the karmic fortune to do so. And so, again, what's the reason we receive an empowerment? It is so that we can mature. And what needs to mature? The mind needs to mature into Buddha. So what is the immature mind? The immature mind is like an ice block. And the mature mind is like an ocean water. And that's the difference between Buddhas and sentient beings, like the difference between ice and water. So you need to melt the ice block. So for as long as you don't melt your own ice block, you suffer, don't you? And so in that moment of being a sentient being, that existence is bound to suffering. And when you mature, then you experience great bliss, and the bliss comes from your freedom, like ocean water. Ocean water is free, and also you attain the ability to benefit others. For example, just like rain falling from the sky and so on, just naturally permeating beings with benefit. And so for this reason, in brief, the more empowerments you receive, the better it is, because all beings possess Buddha nature. And during the empowerment, it is like we are bringing this seed to its full potential. We are ripening it. And therefore, every time you receive an empowerment, it's like you're adding a little bit of water to the seed that you have already planted. So first you plant your seed, and whenever you receive a ripening empowerment, you're adding some water to that seed. And so for this reason, it's important to receive empowerment.
자기 인생 데르들이 자당 모종 답한 무보든 지만을 시인이 데르다당 우세들이 느끼기가 잡들이 마탑들이 제가난지 동에 선지 소설을 와도 소시 동에 뛰는 데르 말게 가난지 동에 따뜻한 답을 통지 말이 니도 동에 치본데 와디 강리 송수로 다리 송 다 지가 단디지 다메 para 다도 송하데 다도 용란지 좋고 요래 산지게 내려오지 주다 요는 짐이 좋대라고요 말이 다메 para 다도 송고 요래 생긴 담지가 출발해 산지게 상들 거기 다메 봐자 다메가 하고 그래 다메도 시합에 산지 시합에 다메가 좀 하고 요래 다들 무슨 때문에 센터 다리지나 센터 다리지나 생도 가도 생고 내려도 어디는 다음에 가서 온다고 그래. 요밤마이 매밤마이 따뜻한 탑절했더니 롱다르 베이지를 믿다가 리다다 냠리서 하고 집어서 사서 sakchi dokchi tela soba tere tonda semi nerok te tona te te sangje je o nzba de sangje sem kwang ran ji de lang kha ta ge te tera te chuka da long ko chuka kosong gi ya shin sem te sem yung te kosong sa yu kosong ran ji ya ti gi cha yo le de ngo tu na lo wa ga me te tela te ta ta ma da bon ko so lu ma yi song ge pak cha yong ala te ni lu go wang ma song go wang se na tok de wang si de wang sum wang dor de bas wang sum chang ge te pe je na te wang na to mong ro wang ala wang mang bo yo le de na ta tok de ta song to wang na de yo le de da ni tok wang si ba de da ding 처럼 da wo de she go na de da ding kwang 처럼 da wo yo na de ga le she go da de 왕지는 언제서 걸 같이 왕 톱나 되니 왕다 왕소 담색에서 뭐 담색소 뭐 톱나 이런 왕신 이거 말했지 탐색가래 탐색이 와서 왕 탐색은 탓도 받으더니 턱조왕을 해야지 턱조왕 탓도 받으더니 당 상속세를 해야지 상제나 나지 니가 로도 파 상구나 인피를 로도 좋다 그래야지 나디는 차그런 따르지 대는 인피를 로 상속세지 왕이 담도 세지면 왕적 영역 말이 토마니 왕가 쪼라들이 토마 상속셈 정탈 왕가 담쳐라 상속셈도 가야 다 삼제 삼바는 일이지 오 뒤에들이 셈은 삼제 지고 뭐가니 센들 후루 차용을 그 도배지 세아지고 도지 동랑구나 셈후루 차지 뭐 차마도 와 따지 셈이 장황 때서 쇼요래 평균 삼제를 내발랐더니 야 막주바지 뭐지 냠들었나 그래 고소라 그러래 그래 니가 나한테 채는 차공차공으로 손으더니 다 죽어있는 거래 그랬더니 그래 시당 차도 올라서 왔다 용봐 독재네들이 다 되게 딱 호라 독이었지 사정처럼 다 차로 대회는 왕소 담책시 받을 거래지 왕자를 싸워 담책 쭉 막도요 말이지 왕자시는 되지 따로 담책이 그래 사족선 나반이래지 그것도 상족선 오 세미바 삼바 세미바다 니에 세미 삼바 세미바래지 삼바 세미바는 이게 세미바인 거래 왕그 통하니 이 상족선 집에 탑대 짬도리 산지 그때 하고 그래 짬도리 산지를我就是大众照顾的，产这个人去的就是三星的光子。我这里他这里产这去原地的，产这小马中啊，产这个送到原地的唱歌有个原地送到去到产这，原地把他们这唱歌有我做什么唱歌的，대회를 들이 짬조 그래서 다 왕년에 사족설을 했고 대회 뒤삼sek에 주왕 마주나 주삼세미나 주삼세라서나 저 인증이 되지 유모가 저거 랑속대 고런 참고 요래 왕 마주나 주시 이 왕수요면 내 제당 차도 가대지는 저게 요래 저것도 왜 땡이 성수는 너도 올라다 저게 요래면서 왕수니 산속선 삼바는 게다 답고 잡네 그랬더니 나그 셈으로 차려내 나딘처럼 가고 이 다 산속선 별로 저도 잡소다 저런 잡소를 던데 대다를 털려들 왕쇼고제 동태 simp지 담실 대식이고 요래지 어느 왕쇼의 담색성 무엇이가 다소 싸바 담색들이 삼바던 인계래지 삼바던 게 줄랬지라 이 나디 매반도네 삼바체면 인제 체면이 나디 매반들 대신 저런 것도 쉬어고 요래지 그랬더니 약지쳐도 예배 받자고 요래 이 차마 차가 바로 동해를 타고 요 말이 대회는 동해를 잘 탑, 내 같은 데가 탑들이 소당 나서면 하면 봐, 산재가 송에. 당호 왕쇼고 봐, 왕같이 있으나. 되게 마치 왕슈사리, 왕리. 그래서 하나 담세, 냠나 왕그 수요래. 소탈 것들이 소종리. 막 소종들이 왕시. 왕수가 돼. 왕을 왕인지 조그래. 일시 사만이 랑고 왕인지. 대 강리들이 소들이 차그런 착공지는 야 조그만 요래야 조 탑들이 전된 차그런만 잡아 탑 양땅한테 담색 소들이 왕그 담색대 적하고 다시 왕그 담색 상태지 내 왕순아 마준이 조상태라서는 종이 손으로 저래지 왕순이 담색 마송너더니 리바테스 체결이 되는지 다다 왕순이 시계도 채됐어요. 바티지 바를 맞아서 저게 왕마지나 유모건이 받지 바를 유모건한테 로아를 덕 대란이 차대열에 저번에 뒤수고 그 손에 좀 제게 직삼을 한 속이지 저시 당같이 냐를 한 속 저 세나한테 다른 한 속 대라도 로아를 덕 유몽적을 한 속 무슨 다 차려야지 대다로 지는 데 있어 또 왕 쇼고 봤다 왕가 탐색도 삼대이 봐 맨지 저때 대신에 뭐 소소로 봐 하고는 일단 왕 쇼고 봐 대왕들하고 왕이제네 이 자로 탐색도 삼대이 봐 대에서도 하고서는 이 태동적적 요 말이 대하장 기침 뭐래 그때 좀다 가니나 라마 석에나 왕시 받으려고 나한테 와차대요 돈들이 소들이 도대 아주 소 상태를 두대 하듯소 나중에 자로 종대 나중에 자로한테 파티 종구요래 도서 종 마고 왕 대니 동대 과래 대 주로 넘버 3이 니르신게 일리도 기초 뭐요래 대 왕가 동다 디바스
So how has the mind become like an ice block? How is it
我们
frozen?
的心如何这个
Because we haven't realized the true nature
僵化
of the
凝固的
mind.
呢？这就是
And
能
if you
够
don't realize the true
能
nature
够
of your
见到
mind,
心性而定。
then
如果
there's a perception of the
如果没有
self.
办法见到
So
自己
you
的心性，
hold
就会有
on
一个
to
我
this
的这个概
belief
念，
that there exists self
这个
and
就会
other.
感到说
And
有
due to this
我跟
dualistic
他的这种差
grasping,
别。
you develop thoughts of attachment, aversion, and ignorance. And you cling to the true existence of appearances, the concrete
这
existence.
就是会
And as a
有这
result
个
of such
之外在
clinging,
的
you experience
这个
suffering. As a human being, we
现
mainly
象为
experience
实
the。suffering of birth, aging, sickness, and death. And then there is a lot of suffering in the other of the
那
six
或者是
realms
说
of
会
samsara. And we can see the suffering in this world, at everywhere in this world. And so, how did that
那
happen? Why
那
is
个
there so
只是
much
这个世
suffering?
界上的
It's
苦为实，
because
这到底
of
是怎么
that
产生的呢？
self. It is because we believe in a
主要就
self,
是因为我们有
the
我执的关
existence
系。
of
当
the
我们
self
认为有一个
that does
我
not
为实
actually
的时候，
exist. So the belief in it in itself is not what's so wrong,
当
but it's
我
because
们
it doesn't
有认为
exist.
有
So
我的这种
if
观
a
念不
self
是什
would
么错
actually
误的事，
exist, then nobody is saying you couldn't believe
当
in
然没有人
it.
说
Then
你
it's
不
fine
能
to
相
believe
信
in
自
it.
己。
But the thing is that it doesn't actually exist. So that is what we call the confusion of
那
sentient
就是所谓
beings.
众生的
They
这个迷
perceive
惘。
a self, a dualistic existence of self and other that actually doesn't
当我们
exist.
这个
And the
认
Buddha
为说
had
自他二元
realized that
对立的
there
分别，
is
这事实
actually
上
no
是
self.
不存在
So
的。
that realization is called the wisdom realizing selflessness. So the Buddha saw that actually self and other are
佛陀这样
inseparable.
讲说，自他
So
是
we
没有
think that
究竟
our
上没有去
mind,
分别
our
的。
consciousness is the self. And so during the empowerment,
在
we
灌顶的
are
过程
introduced
当
to the
中，
fact that there is actually no
那事
self.
实上是
So when you really
我
look at
的。
your mind, where really is that self? Actually, you can't find it. There is no self
当
anywhere.
你的真的要往
It
内
is
看自我的
The
我
mind
的
is
时
a
候，是
nature that
是到处都找不到的，
cannot
就像密心
be
了不得可
described in
得一
any
样。
way. So it can neither said to be existing nor can it said to be
这并不是
non-existing.
说存在或者
It
是不存在
transcends
这
what
种
we
二
call
元
the
对立
four
的道理。
extremes. This is how it is explained according to the logic of the Madhyamaka, the middle
不管
way.
是说中观的
And then
讲
there's
法，
other methods too to realize the nature of mind, such as according
在
to
我们的
the
心性的
practice
内容
lineage
来
of
讲的话，
blessings, the practices of Mahamudra and Dzogchen. And so when you realize the nature of the
当我
mind,
们
that is
能
what
够
we
了
call
解心性
Buddhahood.
的时候，
And a Buddha
就
means
是能
a
够
mind that has become
知佛
completely
性，
free of all fixation,
成熟
of
成
all
佛。
grasping. And this mind that is free of all grasping is
这个没有
vast
任
like
何执着
space.
的这个心，
It is also explained that within your own
在我们的
mind,
心性当
all the
中，
qualities of the three kayas are Dhammakaya, Sambhogakaya, and the Nirmanakaya. So
在
all
我
of
们
that
成熟的心识当中，是
is
生具
introduced
足
to
法
us
报
by
化三
the
生于一体
empowerment.
的。
And then also through the empowerment, we purify the impure karmic tendencies of our body, speech,
那
and
在我们
mind.
过程这个
And that
灌
is
顶的过
through
程
the
当
three
中，让我
levels
们不
of
成熟的
empowerment.
心身
So
口意给
the
予成熟。
form empowerment purifies the
灌
body
顶的
and the
这个暖
speech.
热，
Empowerment purifies the speech and the mind empowerment, the
我们
mind.
身灌顶
So
成
the
熟我们的
briefest
身，
empowerment is divided into these 3
语灌顶成
empowerments.
熟我们的语
And more
言，意
elaborately,
灌
there
顶
is
成熟
also
我们的意
empowerments
业。
that have 5 different levels to them, for example. But even though there can be many levels to empowerment, ultimately all empowerments are summarized in those three: the body, speech, and the mind. And those three are further summarized into the mind empowerment. That's really the essence of any empowerment, to receive the mind empowerment. And during the mind empowerment, we melt this ice block of self-grasping. And so then also one more thing about receiving empowerment. So it is said that the life force of an empowerment is to keep the samaya. And that is also another reason why sometimes people say that you shouldn't receive too many empowerments, because if you receive an empowerment and you can't keep the samaya, it's not good, so better you don't receive this empowerment. But then this person doesn't really understand what is samaya. What is samaya actually? Ultimately, samaya comes down to the mind empowerment, which is really the ultimate empowerment. And the mind empowerment is really the arising of bodhicitta in your mind. It is when bodhicitta arises that the selfish mind goes away. It is like the warmth that melts the ice block of self-grasping. So we can call it love and compassion, or the altruistic mind. And because it is the essence of every empowerment, there is no empowerment that doesn't begin with refuge and the motivation of bodhicitta, and also end with that, because the samaya is also bodhicitta. That's the samaya. So the samaya actually therefore is love and compassion, immeasurable love and compassion. When your mind is full of love, then your mind naturally is at ease. For example, if you are together with a friend that has great love for you, then you will naturally feel at ease and you will be happy. And that is in these moments, our ice block, the ice of our mind is melting a little bit. It is melting due to the connection of love that we share with one another. And on the other hand, if a person that you don't get along with comes, you feel resentment, you feel angry. And then it is just like two ice blocks bumping into each other, and then there is conflict and fighting. And then many negative thoughts arise, anger and jealousy, the 6 afflictive emotions. And these create samsara. So we need to understand how it has happened that our mind became so frozen like an ice block. So this is how it happened. And so again, the life force of the empowerment is the samaya. And even if you receive 100 empowerments, they all have one single root samaya. And what is that? It is bodhicitta, or the twofold bodhicitta. And especially for us, the relative bodhicitta. And the relative bodhicitta really in essence is immeasurable love. And if you have that, then immeasurable compassion will naturally arise. So, doing the empowerment of any deity, we cultivate bodhicitta, we are introduced to bodhicitta. So, an empowerment really is a method, a skillful means for us to cultivate bodhicitta. And it is so through the refuge leads us into a bodhicitta. So that's the important point to understand. And the Buddha had seen that, and that is why the Buddha knew that taking refuge in the 3 jewels leads to cultivating bodhicitta, and therefore he said, first you should take refuge in the 3 jewels, and then you should practice the path of love and compassion. That is the Dharma. And then your guide on the path is the Sangha. Even though the Buddha is no longer alive, there is the Sangha who represents the 3 jewels. The Sangha's body is the Sangha, the speech is the Dharma, and the mind is the Buddha. Therefore, during every empowerment, we always start out with refuge, and then we cultivate bodhicitta. And that is also the samaya. And so since bodhicitta is the samaya, actually the argument that you shouldn't receive an empowerment if you can't keep the samaya actually doesn't hold. Because even if you don't receive an empowerment, if you lose your love for others, if you neglect love, if you further the afflictive emotions, then you will continue to wander in samsara. And whichever of the 6 afflictions is predominant will manifest, will ripen. You can say, for example, if you say that, so as long as I don't receive an empowerment, I'm free, I don't have any samaya, I have no commitment, so I can do whatever I want, I can get angry, I can get jealous as much as I want. But really ask yourself, is it really okay? Because, of course, if you are fine, if you're happy just to go to the 3 lower realms, then in that case it would be okay. But if you don't really want to go there, then you have to hold on to love and compassion. And then your mind will naturally, the ice block of your mind will melt and merge into one with the ocean water. So that is the reason why it is good to receive empowerment. It's because it's good for anyone, because all beings possess Buddha nature. And now we also understand what is the meaning of the samaya. So the root samaya, the actual samaya is love and compassion. And if you cultivate love and compassion, then self-grasping will diminish. And when immeasurable love and compassion arise, then you merge with the Buddha mind completely. And until that is accomplished, you will still not become liberated from suffering. So you need to continue to practice the path that the Buddha had laid out. The Buddha taught basically 3 levels of path, of the Pratimoksha, the Bodhisattva, and the Vajrayana path. So again, it is good to receive empowerment, and the more you receive, the better it is. And also, what you can do is, after you have received an empowerment, is that you can also take a self-empowerment, which becomes kind of like a purifying and restoring ceremony. Sometimes we lose our samaya, our love and our compassion diminishes, and so then we need to restore and purify. And in the sutra path of the Pratimoksha, there's a practice called the sojong, which means purifying and restoring. And the empowerment is just like the sojong of the tantric path. So therefore, if you cannot find a guru from whom to receive an empowerment, you can also just take a self-empowerment. And whenever you do that, any empowerment is a method to melt the ice block. It is like applying some warmth to this ice block, putting it out in the sun. So the more empowerments you receive, the more the ice block is melting. So that is the most important thing that we first need to understand when we receive an empowerment in terms of the samaya. So the samaya is love or loving kindness. And if you lose your love, it doesn't matter whether or not you have received an empowerment or samaya, so to speak. If you lose your love, you will go to the 3 lower realms. It becomes the cause of that. And if you receive an empowerment, and if you if your love declines for some time, of course it is a fault, because we shouldn't let it allow it to degenerate intentionally, knowingly, but also we can purify with this awareness, which is like the sojong, which is why we receive another empowerment, or we take a self-empowerment. And so if we continue to commit, we don't receive empowerment, we don't take any samaya, we think we can do what we want, then whatever of the afflictive emotions is predominant will naturally manifest. Jigten Sumgön had said that cause and effect is the moment-to-moment appearance, or the appearance of one's moment-to-moment thoughts. So that means that if your affliction is anger or hatred, then that will naturally manifest as hell.
那当然，我
And
们
if your
的
affliction is
嗔恨心升起
greed
的时候，
or
自然有一天
stinginess,
会承受成
then
的地
that
狱
will
的走
naturally
向。
manifest as the hungry
那
spirit
当我们
realm.
贪执
And so in this
这个
way,
增长
each of
成
the
熟
six
的时候，自
afflictive
然有一天
emotions
会变成有这个
naturally
恶鬼道的
manifest
结
as a direct experience of the 6 realms of
所以根
samsara.
据我们内心的
So,
烦恼的因
And
的成
therefore,
熟，就
now we
会显
understand
现
that
出
it
六
is
道
good
的
to
种
receive
种样
empowerment,
相。
and we also understand the samaya. What is the
所以我
samaya
们
of
对于这个灌
empowerment?
顶的意
So
义
it
应
is
该要了
love.
解，对于三昧
And
耶，
we
也就是
understand
慈爱
that
心，要有
we
进一步的
can
理
take
解。
self-empowerment
那
too,
有这
also
种正
to
确的了
restore.
解的话，
So
甚至
those
可以
3 are
给自己
important to understand. If
给
you
予灌
understand
顶。
them, you will be free of
那
doubts.
如果你
That's
了
why
解
they
这
are
个道
very
理，你自然
important.
就没有任何的
And
疑
once you
惑。
are free of doubts,
当你没有疑
you
惑
can
的时候，
receive any
你就可以
empowerment from any guru,
从
from any
任何
lineage. The meaning
任
of
何
any
传承的正
empowerment
信
is
上
the
师呢，去
same.
接
And
受这个
so,
灌
in
顶都是
brief,
可以。
doing an empowerment, we are
所以简而言之，
restoring or
这
purifying
个
the
灌顶
mind.
也可以讲
We
说
are
是我们重整来净化我们
applying
的
some
心事，
heat to the ice
就好
block
像让我们的
when we
心如何
cultivate
不把它
love.
变成一个
And the
冰
ice
块一
block
样。
is melting. So again, the sojong of the sutra
这个
path
经教
is
里
the
面的这
empowerment
个
of
忏
the
悔，
tantric path. They have the same
那跟
meaning.
我们这个
So therefore, please, Dharma
密续
friends,
的这个灌
ask
顶
you
有类
to
似的功能
keep
跟意义。
these words dear to your
所以
heart,
各位
close
法
to
友，
your
请
heart.
将这
So
个
that is the brief
内容
commentary on the
给予
meaning of the
牢
empowerment.
记在心。
드니만 거지가네 거자가 라가는데 드니 습지도 사지 공부해 버지데 사지에서 사지 거서 무용데 인성
Hello，
드니 저거 남 갔다서 로고 자송다서 저거 잡았다서 이제 가지는 드니 랑기가 드니 조금 많이 큰 차비오래 다 가지 제말을 본 거면 네 통은 말을 해서 조금 많이 큰 차대요래서 용왕 같이 들이서도 심지 줄어요. 뭐가리 유몽가리 마민발이 유몽가리 미소는 시가리 이 시가리랑 도대체 람진이 바가르티 나파는 자송 람진이 다 샤야 요리 무슨 통야 통주스 줘 봐.
现在这个音量好一点了吗？
시가리랑 요
燕芬，
로그 자송 다 성격들 지랑 다다 통야 요 용왕가 차려 봐. 또 때리. 이 때렸더니 다 왕 거기 가서 들린 거기 로봇고 요 이제 문제 라마지 왕 거고 그래지 때 가면 거기 로봇가 왕 동다 하고 요래 거사가 거기에 샘지나 대식宁波 요바 르포캄 집지다 마민바 메소 상문다고 임바 이 민지 왕장을 생각 없지야 말이고 말이 이 동대 시바들 로봇문지 동마 또 샘지다 나 샘지 지금 나한테다니 뭐 지말에 나중에 이제 때네 그냥 동다 마시 바타게 샘지라고 요래 내가 때는 없고 집에 왕가 때는 없고 지는 그들을 안 하니까 왕이 족과양들이 라시바들이 저거 나갔다가 탑지 돈이 가면 찾대요래 로그자 손다들이 답하신 감 이 봐서 시간을 쓰여 대신함 담지를 이 찾들이 신감들이 살았다는 것을 루데 담타들 로그 찾대요래 이들을 쫓아내는 새끼 담세는 것을 쫓아라고 해 이들 독재 비슷하면 쭉 공수 요는 호화도 쭉 가서 요래 저거다 로고지 딱 맞춰 드니 생긴 호화들이 다 마다니 냠도 요봐 차당 차로 냠도 요봐 저들이 쭉거서 쭉 가야하려고 이제 심 대신이 뭐지 이 사지 그저 요봐라 내가 들이 다 차로라고 차는 유모를 하죠 또 좋아를 또 차는 내가 들이 박찬 선랑도 그래서 내 샤기 요래 그때 마 포를 차로 시켜서 시켜요 하고는 드니 그래서 보고 때고 하고는 드니 된대야 그리고 사로 마타죠 뒤송 하고는 드니랑게
抱歉，很多法友讲我的声音不够大，因为刚刚电脑出的问题。那如果暂时没办法调整的话，我会在中场的时候再来调整，很抱歉。
문제를 가이들 다 적성에서 대학고서는 그 양단용들어가 산 적성검 세미지 검 들이사검 마디 리주보 차종하나 그 라이 거요왕 마가 보 차종하나 송고왕 그 세부 보 차종하나 그 토교왕데 그 토교왕들이 다 토발들이 산 적성지 진비로 세미지 그 뒤절에 돈다고 대마 그 양이가 하고 그래 세미지 줄이지는 그 지구성도 왕성데 왕탑지 설들은 동대다 그래 되는 거 왕들이들이 살아돌지 왕을 해야 돼. 살아돌지에서 양발이 양들 지내서 됐는데 유성주 산지 탐제제 그 송톡서 노도지 진호를 살아오는 라선 자지고 살아돌지 유성주 산지 탐제 톡용을 오라더니 저는 따뜻하고서 퍼빠라라 따뜻해라서 그 돌리기 저 탐제 톡에 살아돌지 톡지 야바로 그 얘네들 송 살아도지 토송 사지 탐지를 고송 독적되지 뭐 대차들을 대다 살아도지 자지로 살아도지 도지참 내가도 도지 명도 살이지 도지 시바디 민소로 도지참은 마음이 없어 생기 다 나와서 샘들하고 샘도 도지 샘코는 제시메게 도지라고 요래
燕芬，我这样讲话你听对吧？
And then when we receive an empowerment,
那在我们接受灌顶
the connection between the deity from whom we
就是跟我们跟本尊建立起连结。
first, and then oneself who receives the empowerment. So sentient beings
所谓的众生
the qualities of the three kayas
是具足在我们心意中具足的三身的。
And for a Buddha, these qualities are manifest.
那对佛陀来讲，它本身具足的三身。
Dharmakaya is like
法身就好像虚空一般。
The Sambhogakaya is like a rainbow in the sky. And the Nirmanakaya is like rain falling down.
那化身就好像天空降下的雨一般。
The three kayas pervade all of the five elements.
那所以这个我们的三身都具足五大元素。
Milarepa said just before his passing that he will continue to pervade the five elements. So his nature is beyond death, actually. Just at the time when we are still sentient beings,
我们的一个人过生之前呢，我们的
those five elements, so the five outer elements are connected to the five afflictive emotions. And so this is how it appears to us while we are sentient beings. There are five elements and five afflictive emotions. So that is when we are immature, unripe.
当我们不成熟的时候，就是五种烦恼。
The five afflictions actually become the five wisdoms.
那当我们成熟的时候，我们这种五种烦恼就变成五种智慧。
You often see a rainbow in the sky.
就好像虚空中的彩虹一般。
Is the natural radiance, the light of the five wisdoms.
那天空的彩虹就是具足这个五智原本的这种特质功德。
We can actually see the natural light.
我们能够看到真正的光。
And so this is how the five wisdoms pervade the five elements.
就是我们五智如何能够冲遍这个五大元素。
When we receive an empowerment,
在我们灌顶过程当中，是由诸法上师给予灌顶。所谓的金刚上师，是对于这个心性所了解。那接受灌顶的心境的众生，事实上也具有这种佛性的心，在心性中具有佛性的。只是他们的五大是不纯净的，而金刚上师是纯净的五大的。
So they need to be introduced by someone who understands how things really are.
所以，对于这未成熟的众生，不纯净的五大呢，他必须要透过了解这一切的人来引导他们，给他们指引。那让他们更进一步理解，那这就是金刚上师已经了达了这一切。那对于这个接受灌顶的众生还未了达，所以我们一般所讲的众生
how things really are. And so therefore in empowerment we are introduced to that. And then once you're introduced to that, you realize that actually I can become a perfect Buddha. It is just like when wood meets with fire, then the wood itself also becomes fire. It turns into fire, it's burned. And so similarly, if we meet with the meaning during the empowerment, if we understand the meaning, we realize that
过程中，我们了解灌顶的意义的，那是有可能证悟成熟成这个圆满佛陀的。
So we have said that Dharmakaya is the space-like,
我们这
empty and all-pervasive nature of the mind. And then the Sambhogakaya are it's like a rainbow in the sky, and
如同虚空一般，我们报身就是从那个空中的彩虹
everywhere.
可以遍布一切。
So the Yidam deity is what we call the Sambhogakaya.
所以我们说本尊的这个报身的本尊。
It is said that all 6 realms of samsara are actually nirmanakayas.
那至于化身来讲，我们也有一种讲法说，6道的众生就是化身的显现。那只是说是不纯净的，那至于报身的化身是纯净的部分。
Which is basically just like ice and water coexisting in this world.
好像这个差别就好像海水跟冰块的差别。
We call others Nirmanakaya or Adruku, but the actual meaning of that is that it is because
当我们称另外一个人是图库或者是化身的时候，那他们这个觉醒的程度而言，所以众生其实都有觉醒的这个潜力的。那只是众生呢，我们还是为我们的业的印记所控制。所以我们见到的一些事情的现象，都是一种扭曲的现象。透过我们的这个修行，是可以融化我们这种我执的冰块的。那这个金刚上师就可以给我们这种指引。那身为弟子的我们呢，一定要奉行的这样子来修行。那有一天能够证悟本尊的证悟的身口意。那总有一天可以融化，我执融化就变成海水合一。那在这个时候，事实上也可以做这个自我灌顶。这个就是灌顶的这个方便的法门，可以让你来自己来做自灌。
Dharmakaya and also Sambhogakaya, and that all beings are actually Nirmanakayas because, as Gampopa also had said, all Buddha nature pervades all sentient. So when you receive these instructions, you recognize that I possess Buddha nature. If I cultivate bodhicitta, I can become awakened, I can become enlightened. And so that which ripens, therefore, that which matures you is bodhicitta. If you keep
那最主要的这个要做的就是要升起菩提心。
You keep cultivating the 4 immeasurables, bodhicitta,
反复的升起四无量心、菩提心，透过观顶，透过持咒，那你的心是可以慢慢的完全净化。
The form empowerment, you purify the karmic imprints of the body, and then through the speech empowerment, you
身观呢净化身障、身业，从语观我们净化我们的语业，从意观我们净化我们的意业。
What's actually most important, and that's why the empowerment
能够这样了解，这是很重要的。最主要就是要我们升起菩提心以及四无量心。当我们升起四无量心跟菩提心的时候，那自然就可以慢慢成熟。
The ultimate nature, the ultimate essence of the three empowerments is included there.
这个就是三灌顶的这个究竟的这个本质，就在于菩提心。今天我们要给各位的这个金刚手菩萨的灌顶。
It is Vajrapani, Manjushri, and Chenrezig.
文殊菩萨、观音菩萨、金刚手菩萨三个
embodiment of all the Buddhas of the 3 times enlightened
这三个
So
这个30诸佛的本质都在以这三个菩萨来做代表。
And actually all the Vajra deities are related
所谓的金刚的本尊
For example, Vajrakilaya is also
他们有相同的心识
manifestation of the Buddha's enlightened mind, or
那主要就是有
Manjushri would be the body. So the Vajra kind of deities, especially Vajrapani, are the mind. Manjushri is body, and Chenrezig is speech.
就金刚的代表意，就像普巴金刚，
body, speech, and mind,
或者是金刚手菩萨。
So all the Vajra deities are a representation of the enlightened mind. So, for example,
所谓的金刚本尊，都是具有佛陀证悟的心意。或者金刚种子等等。
The meaning that we're introduced to is great because Vajra is really
我们能够了解这一点是很好的。
We speak about the
因为我所谓的金刚就是我们内心真正的本质。心金刚、意金刚
transcends birth and death.
是超越生死的。
Everlasting natural state. That's the Vajra mind. And so that is what we must realize. So not realizing that, not realizing our Vajra mind nature, we perceive duality of self and other.
当我们不能了解我们的心刚心的本质，我们就会见到二元对立的实相。
This grasping at me as this I,
那由于对我的这种执着
and wander in the 6 realms of samsara.
而继续在6道中轮回流转。
Their Vajra mind nature are sentient beings who suffer. And when you realize your Vajra mind nature, then you see that my own mind actually is beyond birth and death.
当我们成熟的时候，我们自然可以了解到我们这个心是超越生死的。
The mind is still the same. The mind has
虽然我们的身体在各道中轮回，但我们的心是一样的。
If you understand the meaning of this, you have understood the meaning of all the empowerments.
如果你对这一点能够了解，你就能够了解所有这个所有灌顶的背后的意义。
사달나 샤캬타바 낭달나 사라도지 사달나 도지 당치보 이 뒤섬제 사제 탐제제 사는 조드바 예데 진주래 고보 속상제 제 상지 제네 라저 경지 송바다 강라 강들제 상하제 사 탐제 다당 동데 로직제 거여져봐 콜로디죠 소거져봐 마하야나 톡져봐 지바도지 용지져봐 상한지반 천례제 저봐 뒤제 콜로 탐제 다당오 저봐 연대 유리 ngāi kāna tōwa nā lūchī nāmni sāngjē nī ngāi sōngda tūpa nā kōrwa nē jāng dēwar tōp ngāi tōkda tōkwa nā sēmjīn tāmjē sāngjē nī sēmjīn tāmjē sāngjē nī 지성마 사나 돌지 내 왕고로 톱쟁이 남세나 라신 제제 강기장 마석바 연세 사돌지 줄에 달아 따도 손절나 데비에다 태송미 지성베 타톡 산제제 톡 돌지 당 예름 시반데네 사지 돌지에서 또 탐진이 속공적 인심제 돌진제 봐. 네 라마지바니 잡다 돌진 장 돌진 나좀마. 아빠 가라카타 리나라치타 리나라치타 셔바라카라카타 세타르 카타 신타 시르바다 창로다와 돌지 잠시 로다와 조니 방로를 때마 사당 마드베지 사당 보방과 바꿔가서 몰라만 조니 로불라마 제셔마가 취지 잡아 자왕은 집어서 남면이 지 왕은 집바를 지면서 레나 셈바 신다를 취지 잡아 권초를 권초 그래서 보자 동공 잡아 권초 땡진도들 땡진진로들 우리들이 로지저도 제도원서 찾다 콜른 공부 땡진 변매 장치 로그시 장치 지치 땡진 주왕랑도 주인도 고저 두진만 가르치 땡배 장치 땡진 취재 로드 장부 시월 로드 같이 차례형 접도 톱치미도지 우저 톱인 뭐지 라마지바데 인지소 로고를 말해 로고 말해 그렇지 라마지바 그런 진이 치는 거에 인하 왕시다지 우저 톱인 뭐시 이람지는 뭐지 아그 내리 잡지 우저 톱인 뭐는 시바래 드림스 왕은 공수 말해.
So here's the history for the Vajrapani empowerment. Outwardly, and this deity is Shakyamuni. Inwardly, he is Vajrapani, and intermediately, he is great Vajradhara. He is the treasurer of the secrets of all the Buddhas of the three times. It is said in the Manjushri Namasangiti, I am unquestionably the holder of the secrets of all the protectors, the perfect Buddhas. All the deities of the secret mantra who tame beings according to their needs have this same meaning and essence. The body emanation is Chakrasamvara, the speech emanation is Mahamaya, the mind emanation is Hevajra, the quality emanation is Guya Samaja, and the activity emanation is Kala Chakra. They all have the same essence. It is said in a Tantra, when you see my body, all beings are in the nature Buddhas. When you hear my voice, you obtain happiness even if you are in samsara. When you realize my mind, all sentient beings are in nature Buddhas. If you obtain this empowerment of Vajrapani and make him your Yidam deity, no one among the 8 classes of gods and demons can harm you. It is said in the Vajrapani Tantra, if you always persevere in this practice, there is no doubt that the 8 classes of gods and demons will be like your servants. And ultimately, it will make you indivisible from the Vajra mind of all the Buddhas. It belongs to the Kriya Tantras and the Vajra family. The sadhana is composed by Acharya Achikten Somgidwache. And so then after that, Rinpoche read the name of the lineage masters, and so it was enough for you just to have heard their names once. And Rinpoche himself had received this empowerment from Gonchok Thupten Nyingpo, who was Hojen Rinpoche's, Lamchen Rinpoche's uncle, Lamchen Gyabo Rinpoche's uncle.
Dosa Maya, Mane Palaya, Bedasa Toseno, the doctor me bawa, so the cow me bawa, so bochao me ba, Anarato me bawa, so what the me ba, yet a sawa kalma sadame, the Tantiam Guru, ha 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 ho, bagay, sawa tatang gata beda mame, menta beda ba, ma samaya sato, maswata lagadabe. Kekade samay kire ho abe ne da hong bai so ba ke da ma so ba ke da wa tong ga no so mo je ye ja je wa na hong so wa la so we to ma ka ye to ma so me de ba je ba je ni ba na ko sa ya ba jo ma ga ma ga so wa ma a je ni be no ma hong bai do Umagar Magatavana Adinimena Zoma Hong by Zoa Magar Adinimena Zoma Hong by Zoa Namatawata Avaloga Umasambara Sambara Hong Namatawata Avaloga Umasambara Sambara Hong Namata the Sagada Avaloga Umasambara Sambara Hong the Himala Himala Sotala he was to be Sambara Sambara he was quite a little the issue was what touches on the sometimes do conjure the module. Well, there are some budgets or other things. No one of those judges was only on the resident. Zoa General Labina, the Jinjo, what Chupan, the never somebody who was a London people. One of the Tobagan, Senior Professor, Gigi, the Chitu, the Turkey, and that on the Tobago, the Boko Papa. Get long get don't take it from the outfit. You can't be so good out there. I'm going to appear when you live. My day don't jump out from that. I'm going to do it. Don't you rub it at the top of the way. Someone doesn't want to hold on. Drawn up by a down on the home of my bear on the Rang Koliwa to the Savatokara, just only more than Bajasava, just sort of the charge of Mavarasaway. They told you, don't you got that day another love the water, what of the dodgy side, or just sort out of the dodgy Tawati water, the Tagapan, the dodgy diet of a sort of dodgy Ravate, or you see them at home. But some people, the budget of Martin to was on a judge of a church. Mendene beda bawa beda 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 takara pizza beta na shara dola tam 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 beta dola ana laga hong 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 three one to the three tam menda perwani three kanina three kobe tawa danji three danji tin kowa chungure three raji sanang tamje three that's the military that Meda Bogore, the Meda.
Next we will offer a mandala. And so the reason why we offer a mandala, how we offer mandala during an empowerment, is that the root of samsara is self-grasping. It's because of self-grasping that samsara arises. And so now we bring to mind all of that self-grasping of self and other, and also along with the entire outer universe. And then we offer it up to the Buddhas. And so next we will recite the mandala offering. So when you offer a mandala, you think that you're offering limitless universes up to all the Buddhas pervading space. And we're going to recite the mandala offering that comes from the Guru Yoga, a practice of Milarepa. The words of this particular mandala offering are very profound. So in the yellow prayer book, that's on page 7. an infinite array of worlds, each with 4 continents and the wealth of infinite oceans of realms. If I bring them all to mind and offer them without exception, please hold with compassion all the beings they contain. My body, enjoyments, and whatever I own, my aggregates, elements, and sense sources, my aspirations now and in times to come, as well as everything I grasp as mine. By offering them all, may I be blessed with the end of self-grasping, completely liberated from the bounds of real and unreal, transcending the names and concepts of arising, cessation, and abiding, coming and going, affirmation and denial. The supreme mandala is the natural state. By offering it, may I be blessed to attain the state of Buddhahood. Om Guru Devanta Kini Ratna Mandala Prateja Soha.
再一次做嗡曼达。做的曼达的供养是从密勒日巴上师的嗡曼达的意思。我们观想要借供养给十方人们受的诸菩萨。
So whether you are receiving empowerment from Guru or you are taking a self-empowerment, you should think that the principal deity appears out of the Dharmakaya space expanse instantly as the rainbow-like Sambhogakaya. So at the center is the deity, the main deity from whom you receive the empowerment, and think that that deity is surrounded by all the Buddhas of the 10 directions and 3 times who all appear in an instant. They appear just like a mother appears when she hears the cries of her suffering child. So the mother will just naturally come. And the Buddhas love all sentient beings just like a mother loves her child. And that is whether or not we supplicate them. Even if we don't supplicate them, the Buddhas still look upon us with great compassion. But now when we supplicate them, you should think and be completely certain that they are actually there. They actually appear before you.
佛本尊就在我们前面，要跟着仁波切念。
In English, embodiment of omniscient wisdom, who utterly purifies the wheel of existence through your kindness, please grant me the principal deity of the precious treasury you are setting forth today. And then next up, please repeat the 5 pure branches, which is to take refuge and to cultivate bodhicitta, to confess all misdeeds and obscurations, and is to rejoice and then finally to dedicate the roots of virtue from these practices for the complete awakening and enlightenment of all sentient beings.
一切的众生为了他们证悟佛果而做回向。这仁波切念。
Dekpa, mege, so sha, rowe, gela, ji yi rang, sang je, chang chep, yi ji zong, sang je, chu tang, chom cho la, chang chep, par se, da jam chi, Rangji, Tuni, Rab Sir, Chang Chup, Semne, Yi Barje, Chang Chup, Choke, Semne, Yi Jine, Semjin, Tamje, Daki, Rung De Nyer, Chang Chup, 中秋义勇结巴结罗拉平时长节热巴说
I take refuge
我皈依三宝，我忏悔一切的罪障，一切的不善，我随喜一切众生的善行，我保持正悟的佛在心中，直至证得菩提前，我皈依佛、法以及无上无比的生宝，为了成就自他，我升起菩提心，已经升起菩提心，无上正悟的心，我欢迎一切的众生，并且会行无上的菩提行，为了欢喜一切众生，为了一切众生证悟成佛。
Now, so Dharma friends, please take a break for 20 minutes.
所以各位法友，我们休息20分钟。在休息的时候，请意念菩提心，而且你也想着，就算我要去洗手间小便，我也保持菩提心。
那刚刚临时他们换了一个灌顶文，所以来不及为各位事先来翻译，在这边讲一下，在金刚手菩萨来讲，外在是外相是释迦牟尼佛，内在是金刚手菩萨，在中间呢，它就是伟大的金刚总持，它是所有三世诸佛密续的持有保护者。那么在所有的这个密咒称的本尊当中，那么这个本尊会依据众生的需求而来给予他们帮助以及调伏，那让他们的都有同样的这样子的一个意义跟本质的。那本尊的这个本尊的这个 身的划线就是圣乐金刚，它的语序的划线是玛哈玛雅，意的划线是喜金刚。那么它的事业，它的功德的划线就是嘎亚萨玛加，以及它的事业的划线就是十人金刚卡拉查克拉。这个两段是之前没有来得及跟大家翻译的，然后这边也讲到仁波切这个灌顶的传承来自于朗金加波仁波切的 uncle， 他的叔父。那么那这个之间仁波切有讲了很多他的传承的来源，但是他也讲过说这种传承呢听过一次就好了，所以就不必我们用不同的语言把它翻译出来。那刚刚仁波切在休息之前，他特别讲了一句，就是在我们去上厕所的过程当中，也不要忘失了我们的菩提心。那至于中间有一段没有翻到的是灌顶的这个祈请文，那也谢谢Ben师兄在这个电脑机出问题的时候跳进来帮忙翻译。我们这一开始的祈请文是遍知之法身，遍知之化身，清净轮回界，请于今日慈悲赐予圣尊之灌顶。然后接下来五支供养呢是最胜三宝我皈依，一切罪业成忏悔，随喜一切众生善，诸佛菩萨心中持，诸佛圣法即生前，直至菩提恒皈依，为圆满利自他故，今发最胜菩提心，既发最胜菩提心，越迎一切诸有情，修胜菩提行越重，为利有情愿成佛。
다 주로는 거 양양자 팬나 아마 팬네들이 다서 다왕 무지라 다왕 뭐 함실 고성 도지지스 나와서 고성 도지지스 나와서 이 토마토리 거이지 나와서 드리텔라 나콜라도로 소와담 드리텔 지디 나와서
So now all Dharma friends have assembled, and so we come to the
现在已经看到的这个灌顶开始的部分。
This is a brief empowerment, and a brief empowerment consists of the authorization, which is the empowerment of body, speech, and mind. So first, in order to receive the form or body empowerment, please repeat the following supplication, thinking that you're supplicating all the deities abiding in space before you.
那我们在做这个灌顶祈请的时候，我们要如此观想，就是灌顶本尊在我们面前的虚空，充满面前的虚空当中。
균을 가리 샘 다음에 바로 다드노 생포랑 주고 말 다음에 바로 다드노 다디 나오냐만 다 주고 요래 이렇게 잡선 좋아하지 애기들이 마음이 바로 나이도 바로 주고나 다들 주고는 인피를 놓고 주고 말 샘나 갔다 그러더니 랑지가 다디 야요면 탑 서쪽으로 요 말이 사제 tuk지지거든요 오 단디제니 뭐 인피를 놓래 샘지지는 피고 있는데 다른 미매가 차대리 되더니 남토마더니 산쪽조도 샘지바대리 이 산쪽조도 샘지 샘들아 다요 말 샘지 삼지 삼들이 샘지 치보 차대리 저 동만이 차대리 이 제가 지지서 닦고 해주서 나와고 제가 다시 생당모 차대들이 초이는 작가를 쳐가지고 가리는 쳤다모 샷고 요래 맨 잠소 당모였나 그런 것들이 속차당 샤고 참파탐이 통통고 요래 쳤다모 나디면 생파는 걸 아끼지 죽거든 죽어 살라 당황을 잡든지 어디 죽어 남파다 왜지 늘 남파다 타면 봐대 다들이 라이 거 가래나 랑가 라이 남소 줄 것이 와도 그속대 아 곰고 때 곰고지 가래래지 내가 생나 파다고 차지네더니 나이다 속대 저는 다 가래 엄마 륜데 나리지 륜들이 나들 아 턱고 차가 저래 말 륜지 동네들 륜이 나리라 말이들 새끼가 그렇다고 요만이 아무래도 후나 요 양면에 짜동이 가면 따따로면 사야만 뭐 샤도고 배지다 새끼가 륜커터 요만이 륜커터 메나 드니지 륜다 메발 륜이 다 정에 이 류지 박차들이 다다 지금 뭐 차랑 동네들이 남시들이 박차류 박차들 들이 동네 용 거래 내가 찬제 타르게 봐 류살 거 자손다 이거 도사지들 거는 그 박차 바지로 요래 다파다로 그래 대들이 살 거거든요 류지 박차 용서들이 이 생각 박차 용어는 상속세 이제 다 소화다고 그래
So, first when the Buddha taught, first he taught the refuge. First we take refuge in the three jewels, and we enter the path. So the Buddha is, so the three jewels, how we see them is that the real refuge is the Buddha. And the Sangha is our companion, our guide, and the Dharma is the path. And Dharma means that we need to transform the mind or fix our mind. And so that being said, it's not really the mind per se that we need to fix or change in any way, the mind itself, but what we need to change in our mind is we need to cut out or kind of let go of this thinking, this belief in the true existence of me, that I really exist. So that is what we need to get rid of. And the only way to eliminate this perception of self, and me, is through cultivating an altruistic mind that wishes to benefit others. And so that's the first step on our path, is to cultivate bodhicitta. If you cultivate bodhicitta, then naturally there will be no self. And then the mind in its natural state is completely vast, like space, or it is like clear, crystal clear water. So during the form empowerment, the body empowerment, we purify the karmic imprints of clinging to this body as me, as mine. And so when the mind becomes free of that clinging, the mind becomes completely clear, like clear water. For example, if you have a clear lake, anything can be reflected in it clearly, and also you can see to the bottom. So when the mind is completely clear, you can see to the bottom of the mind, the actual nature of the mind. In other words, when there is no self-grasping in the mind, you will naturally see the Dharmakaya nature within you. There's actually also a refuge where we take refuge in the Dharmakaya. And the Dharmakaya is like space without center or boundaries, without any limitations, like open space. And then from within that space appears the Sambhogakaya of whichever deity you practice. Could be a peaceful or a wrathful deity. And so then the reason why, even though our nature is Dharmakaya, the reason why we visualize the Sambhogakaya is because what do you identify with? What do you call me? You're pointing at your body. You think that this body, that's me.
什么是我呢？ 因为我们一般人会指着我们的身体，认为它就是我。
perception of itself has become very solidified.
然后
It's my
把它变得
body.
非常
That's
固化，
me.
认为这个
But
身体
then,
就是
is it
我。
really your body? Because there's no one who can
当
bring their
然
body with
当
them
我
when
们
they
死亡的
die.
时候，没有任何人可以
There's
把他
nothing
们
you
的
can do
身体带
about
着。
that. You can't bring your body. And you die, either it will be
当我
buried
们死亡之
underground
后，
or
我们
burned
或者
away
是
by
埋在
fire,
地
but you
下，
can't
或者是
take
火
it.
化了。
But what you will take is this
那这
perception
主
of
要我
me,
们会
this
带走的就
imprint,
是
this
我的
habitual
这种
thinking of
观
a
念跟
self.
执着。
And it is because of this
因为
imprint
这
that there
种这
is
个
a
印记
me, a
的我
self,
的印记，
that you continue to experience
那我们继
suffering,
续
the
的受
suffering
苦，
of hunger and
继
thirst
续
and
感
heat
受
and
到
cold
饥
and
饿
bardo
跟
and so on. And so
渴。
the Buddha, with his great compassion
那佛陀
and
因为
skillful
他的悲
means,
心及他的
he
方
also
便呢，
saw that when you
帮助我们
exchange this
改变这
perception
种
of
觉知。
identifying with your body and instead identify with the deity, so you visualize yourself
那
in
我
the
们就要
rainbow-like
这跟
form of
认
the
同这个
deity,
本
then
尊
you will
身，然
simply
后
forget
观
about
想
your ordinary
这
body.
个
And
身
in this
如
way,
雨
the
降下，
imprint of the ordinary
这样
body
可以帮助
becomes
我们舍弃
purified.
我们对身
So
平
the
常身的执
visualization
着，
of the
能够净
deity's
化我们的
form
身的障
is
碍。
in order to purify our karmic
那
imprints
这
of the
帮助我
body.
们
And then we cultivate bodhicitta in order to purify the imprints of the mind. So
帮
next, please
为了净
repeat
化
the
我们对
following
身的
supplications.
执着，我们来要升起菩提心。那这就是接下来我们要做的动作。
nga dungi dok ta sanje jab ko nga sanje chang jab sho yin den o sanje ke nga ge chang jab to ko ti ngi chang jab tap de ko yin de tap yin no so to ba ta ni nga kai cho ko le de che랑 nga o nya ba cho ko chang sam ning je gom de chang de nga o nya ba pa tap tap song la ni shirab la ti ni chang ge da me ba da ni me ba ha ko to de le de ma ni ti tong ne 저거 탑에 좀 그네디 창 쪄버려야 돼. 창 삼행지고는 다음에 봤던. 너희들이 싫어하더니 다진이 매와 하고 특별히 너는 랑가랑 쪄도 내리 줄을 탑을 남때 이제 탈바 랑내라리 시발지에서 콩거들이 좀 크다고 말해야 돼. 대사들이 산지 딸들 너막가면 무슨 쏜 거요. 뒤통 고고래야 돼. 공서설 나라 παρ사돈 중들지 고송 톡제 지선나 공서설 공서설 나라 παρ사돈 중들지 고송 톡제 지선나
Master, Please heed me. Please bestow upon me the empowerment of body, speech, and mind of the Bhagavan
祈请上师
Vajrapani.
垂念我，请赐予薄伽梵金刚手菩萨之身语意灌顶。
做亲，出了做人的记，杀劫，一时记得说。
金刚持者垂念我，
For the benefit of beings, I supplicate
为利
you,
有情故，
Exalted One, please cause the mudra of wisdom to arise.
金刚持者垂念我，为利有情故，祈请最胜引导尊，请令智慧之印升起。
다음부터 잡시고리 잡나 마서 코로나는 고모지는 보체쇼에 손코로나는 고모지 손코로나는 이 담만방에 다니지니 이게 네 소위 이 홍줄 로마도 홍을 줄는데 되잖아 홍줄 홍사야만 보더니 또 많이 이런게 탐특고 요래 이 소소고 홍고는 라지 그 손코로나는 취취되고 요래 저들이 홍주부 오늘들이 산재 담재 통주 홍비용을 봐 이제다 돌로 탐재는 홍주어데 송화 탐재 초대 줄 말에 송홀로 매동 사족생 던지지 송고소 홍고지 다진이 자와를 열마에 다쳐서 탐재가 따라 홍주 이가 요 말이 내 남지가 또 차들이 있다면은 이 토하더니 이제 사이소 이제 곰 랑 롱자 삼족 홍주고 곰네 데리는 때 남각하니 이 20여 라초단지 남파강한테 고송토 사자지 온과 엄마한 타바법하는 애들이 고소 탐송삼 대답지 뭐 산촉습 지피를 함지리 이거 단지인들 타바사바 법은 차그럼 쉬어져 강 카드는 마셔는 쉬어져 빼대다들이 단지시고 우리 형들이 무슨 대식님 먹는데 저들 카 차그럼도 철저들이 잡소로 된 이 잡소들이 랑나 핀바지나 대와서 잡소랑나들이 동네 요마 강에 요마 나파로 동네 요마 잡소로 동네 요마 이는 핀바데 나파 좀 받치는 민지 답지 초kam이고 요래 사족생 빼제 민발세 바데 토마니 세미네들이 이거 홍곰 이 지스들이 다들 꼭 내들이 르지 박사 용어 딱와 살아도 죽고 바로 되었다 오사티다버리 아주 라리리랑 이셔와초 깔고는 왕감이 라티 양대 담는 나슬이야 롱고서 롱고 살라다 와라 잡은 저 어디 이렇게 다 sembra스 받은 자 손이 차대요래 대그들이 다 뉴제일들 동해요래 나자 동해 살짝 빌렸다가 송말이 동해 장대 누저 걸리들 자당 자무지에서 로당 대변 호시는 데서 남대 들어온데 담배 취재 탑라티니들이 리더들이 바깥에 흘러지는 이랑이 돈이 제쳐들이 조금 미용을 해서 때문에 고 리더들이 동해 속차 차들 리더 오는데 조금 보고 찾아가 동해 리더들이 종요래 semko랑 다르들 정말 대시로 달고 박차 종아 다 토만이 거더니 당을 내린 야송다वर 차로 대도 없나 야송다वर 내린 저터고 요래 들대다वर 다 당고 홍곰 대기스더니 막 다들이 라이고 봐졌다 이제도 여름 거 가는 남당한테 사시나 일당을 누가 박차 라워지 파시전이 야송다वर 민속고 요래 바로 롱걸 민속
And so Next is the visualization of the deity's form.
接下来是本尊形象的观想。
If we just visualize the seed syllable of the deity,
我们有观想本尊的
Hong
种子字
syllable is the seed syllable of all the deities.
Hong 是所有本尊的种子字。
Meditate on the seed syllable.
当我们禅修
Like if it just
种子字的时候，
think I am the
如果我们能
deity,
够
for example,
有
and
这
there
种
still is this concept of
体
me.
认，我
But
就
if
是
you
本尊，
first start with the Hong, and if you meditate on the
这
Hong,
或许还
then
会
there
有
is
我的
no
成分存在。
concept of a self, a me.
那但是我们如果
It
专
is
注在
also
Hong
said that
字
the
上面，
Hong
就没有我
syllable
的。
is the king of all the seed syllables.
Hong 是
And
所有种子
it is
字
also
之
said that
王。
if you wanted to meditate on all the Buddhas after 3 times instantly,
如果
all at
你
the
要
same
禅
time,
教
then you
在
should visualize the syllable Hong.
一时之间
Also
禅
regarding the
修
Hong,
所有的
it
本尊
becomes
就
like
可
a
以观想
protection
Hong 字。
sphere. Now, sometimes, for example, some disciples ask the guru,
有的时候
please,
弟子问本
let
尊
me
在上师，
enter into your sphere of protection, your
请让
protection
我进入你
sphere.
的保护帐幕之
Visualize
中，
me in your in your protection sphere.
请
And
在你的保护帐中
so
观想我。
ordinary people see it
对于一般
like
人来讲呢，
there's all these beings which are then in this protection sphere. But then
那
what the guru
认为就
actually
在这个
does is
保护帐幕中有
seeing
各
them
种不
all
同的
as
众生。
Hong. They all become
但
Hong.
是以本
And so
上
then
师来讲
everything
呢
is， Hong.
在他的
And
保护
then
帐幕之中，
millions
一切
of
众生都如
beings
同Hong 字，
are all contained within the Hong. So this is how
所
they
有的
can
一
all
切
kind
众
of
生
fit
都
in the
含藏在 Hong
protection
字当
sphere.
中。
So the real meaning of Hong, therefore, is
这个Hong 字的
emptiness.
本质的意义
And
就是空性。
therefore, if you are able to just meditate on
所以
Hong,
如果
everything
你
can
能
be
够能够
encompassed
禅修
by
这个
it.
Hong 字，
And so when you visualize the Hong, therefore, it
当你能够
becomes
禅
like
修
a
Hong 字
natural
的，
protection sphere, or like basically when
这
I
就变
visualize
成一
Hong,
个
everyone
自
is
然的保护
naturally
帐幕。
included in
那
the
所有
sphere
的
of
众生就
protection
自然就在
through
这
the
个
Hong
保护
syllable.
帐幕之中。
And regarding the protection sphere,
保
Jigten
护至
Sungen
于
also
保
said
护帐
that
幕呢，吉田松公主是曾说，
most supreme, the most powerful protection
最
sphere
有
is
用、最具
bodhicitta.
威力、最无上的保护，
So first, when you think of the Hong, just like when you cultivate bodhicitta, there
就
is
就是
no
菩提心。
concept of self or other at
不管是
all.
你观想 Hong 或者
So
是
when
菩
you
提心，
meditate
就
on
没
the
有我的观
Hong,
念。
the mind
当
becomes
你禅
empty
修
just
Hong 字，
naturally. That's
那
why in the beginning, when we practice
心
the
就自然。
deity, we visualize the seed syllable. And then as you habituate to Hong, also begin
当你这
to
个串习
feel
这个 Hong
how
字的时候，
everything is Hong, how
一
like,
切都是 Hong
each
字，
heartbeat reverberating through your body is like a
甚至
pulse of
你
Hong,
的
Hong,
这个
Hong
身体的脉动都
pulsating
是
through
Hong
your
字。
body. So everything becomes, the whole universe becomes Hong.
这个整个
And so now,
宇
with
宙
that
都
in
变成
mind,
Hong 字。
visualize that as the wisdom beings descend, think that from
接
the
下来我们
space,
观想在面
various
前
seed
虚空的
syllables as
本
Om
尊
and Hong and forms of deities,
所有智
wisdom
慧尊
deities
降下
descend
这
down
个
like rain
Hong 字，
falling down and
如
permeate
同
the
雨
entire
向下。
universe. So what really what
那在这边
what
是
really
真正所
permeates here,
代
the
表的
blessing
是什么
here
呢？
is their bodhicitta.
就是
So
我
it
们
is
的
like
菩提心，
actually like hot
就同像
rain
驾雨一
falling
样，
down and
那
melting
把一
all
切
the ice
众生的我
blocks,
执给它融掉，
eliminating all of our self-grasping and
然后
revealing
把我们真正的
our
本质
true
让他们
nature,
能够
our
彰
Buddha
显出来，
nature.
就好
Which is
像
just like ice melting
冰
into
块
water
融
and
化
merging
成
with the
水，
ocean.
跟
And once
海
you
水合
become
为一。
like ocean water, then you will, that is the
如果
ongoing
能够
benefit, and it will bring happiness to others.
把我执
Because
融
the
掉，
ocean,
跟海
the
水合一，
water
这是你最
has
大的
no
快乐，也
suffering.
为
And
众
also
生带来
space,
无
for
比的快
example,
乐
doesn't suffer.
跟利益。
So this is how you then bring
这也
benefit
就是我们
to
本尊如何
others.
利益众生
Once
的方
the
式。
ice has melted and ripened
当他们
into
这个
water. So
冰块
the
融
ocean
化
and
而
the
且成
sky
熟
therefore
的话，
also are examples of
透过菩提
bodhicitta,
心，
the ultimate bodhicitta. So
这
in
就
any
是
case,
就近的
first,
菩提心。
visualize Hong.
一开始
Meditate
我们
just on
先
the Hong syllable.
观想
And the
Hong
Hong
字，
syllable purifies
然后
the
并
the visualization
我
purifies the
们净
karmic
化我
imprint
身
of the
体的
body.
印记的一些业。等一下，当我叫你把眼睛张开的时候，你可以看着金刚手菩萨的形象。不论你接受什么样的灌顶呢，你都可以用这样的形式来体认这个本尊。那首先观想本尊如同雨这样在面前降下。
I take refuge or pay homage to the clear nature, the clear
我们内心想起就是我们的皈依清明的报身的本质。
So the mind then appears like a rainbow. You forget about your ordinary physical material body. The physical material body is the basis for all suffering and pain and sickness.
萨迦班知道过去曾说
said that in
这个轮回如海轮回的痛苦
the ocean of suffering would take on a vessel. It's the vessel of a body. So
那都是有以身体为船的才来的。
perspective of samsara,
那身体是我们最大的敌人。 那当一个有常识的人呢？那有或者是有一个有大功的人，都会舍弃我们的身，对身的执着。那不管我们身体的各运，那么我们对自他对立的这种执着的这种概念就会消亡。 那我们的身体也就成熟，变成这个本尊的报身。但是如果我们继续把我们的身体看为凡夫身，那我们的身体也可以变成一个本尊纯净之身。那但是相对的，如果再从轮回的角度来讲，我们身体是我们最大的敌人。
And so, when we identify
所以当我们跟本尊认同本尊的时候， 那本尊如彩虹般的身体。 那你看着本尊形象的知道说我可以变成那样子。 那我们看着本尊如彩虹般的身体变成彩虹身。 那一开始就是专注在吽字，禅修吽字。 当我请你把眼睛张开的时候，你就专注的看着本尊像。 那未来你要自己修法的时候， 就这样反复的这个过程， 观想本尊如彩虹般的形象。 那在一刹那间就观出这个本尊的彩虹般的报身形象。 如果这样反复的传习，我们对身体的执着会慢慢消失。那将来在中阴的阶段，能够得到证悟而得到报身成就。
那说别嘛的你们的呢，轰动都是用是这把嘞，说嘛那个这个上个大过，中国这些工作拿过也多些正经用这个正这个，正这当这正这多几下子嘛。 这嘛是把这老姐姐嘛，大花枪了，大像也更勇敢的，刚把这边成话建议谢谢明白我了，就把这大个招红个嘛，把嘛不那个红个我这种人我这是。 牺牲不做，你这了都只把三种人都听了，看完不把这把起来了，这没办法做，这红不着，我们讲了，阿伟。 다 진실랑 그 살아도 그 바다 타가 대적다 야 맥점 맥도 빠체도 주바리 이사카리나데 맥라 람상sem을 할람서 샤그리 양당용데 sem때 주대 받지는더니 sem을 양이 샤그리 되리 살이 엄마리 sem을 차와더랑 그 sem도 메롱이 띵을 샤데 철랑 그 sem을 샤도잖아 되게 맘지를 들라고 봐지로 오래 되게 기좀 뭐 되게는 거요 왕성
And open your eyes and look at the image of Vajrapani or look at the tanka. And then again, repeat that. You open your eyes and again you close your eyes and then you have the deity appear in your mind. So this is how you practice when you practice on your own. And if you practice in this way, then eventually the deity will appear in your mind at least as first a vague image in the mind. And also it may appear if you develop single-pointed faith, devotion to the deity. And so when the deity appears, then recognize that it is not anywhere outside of yourself. It's the appearance of your own mind, within your own mind. Your own mind is like a mirror. Anything can be reflected in it. And so when you look at the image and then you close your eyes and then it appears in your mind, it's like you're taking a picture. So your eyes become like a camera, and then the image of the deity appears in your mind. And so when the deity appears in your mind, then the concept of your own body, you will forget about your own body physically. And so that is the most important point about the generation stage. So this is the form empowerment.
도제 진짜 사실랑 저와지 버셔도 왕요 내전에 저다들어들어들어들어지 나서와다비 소부지 소와도 배자와는 거가 그거만 돼서 저 선만을 다시 줘서 저 선만을 저리 정말은 저게 정말은 저 소주도 화에 보다 보면은 하면서 독단 잠시 받이나 정말 라이브도 그걸로 차인배비 이거 막아보다 저세비라지 이거 완전히 와서네 로마라고 건데 왕고로도 제제 뭐냐 가서 봐요 집에 사진 그저 사는다 내려도 맞지 말아서 오면 사마다다가다 앞에 시가 돼 삼마에 시래 호마사만 앞에 그가 돼서만 그래 오마사만 앞에 그가 삼마에 그래 드니 왕가는 나그 라소 당에 샘진이 장당냐 말이야. 드니 봐봐 남네. 샘진 이렇게 돌라야 돼 왕거거리. 드리지 드리 잡아봐봐나. 누구 탐지를 타는 거요리. 대다신 거리. 오 나타 봐고리 야마존산 때 말이. 봐대 빼다버리. 드리 사람들이 나거니 주거리 롱니지 집을 로거리들이 잡아봐나 얘들이 로거 야송다고 쭉 잡았다 외송 생각들 탐지를 타고요 해야지.
So also when you receive empowerment, you should.
当你在接受灌顶的时候。
So there are as many empowerment deities as there are sentient beings.
那灌顶本尊的数量多如众生的数目。
Empowerment into the crowns of all sentient beings, so not just yourself.
那我们了解到这个本尊的加持是在所有众生的头顶，并不只是我们是头顶。那就无量无数的这个本尊如雨降下，融入一切法界里面一切众生的身上。
I didn't get the vase on my crown, so I didn't get the
那所以你不用讲说我没有我的头顶没有直接被宝瓶碰到，没有得到加持。我们主要就是如虚空的法身本质得到这个加持。
are like the Nirvana Kaya, and then those blessings actually permeate everywhere in the entire universe Being thus initiated to karmic imprints and defilements accumulated with the body, and all grasping at them are purified, and you have received the complete
一切由身所累积的染污与执着习气，皆得清净。一切身之灌顶已受已，故可观修自身为色空不二之本尊，并获得化身成就之加持。
Luigi Bakcha, Tata Luigi Muni, some telling you, so Natatung in your Bakcha, Chile Malamoni, Lund the Tower, sit the way in your Dino Bakcha. It's a knee, Shelley, Luigi Ya young, 70 Bakcha, Tata and Yetani, don't so young. The way the tea Lu Bakcha, don't say Tata and Jason, you saw the Shelley. Luigi Tatani Kakachado, 70, Luigi Yoda, Luigi Mares, and Chado, several like just don't out the seven shadow. Luigi long money to talk with your Tata the meditation to the one to the relation. Something which have any paying your head, the penalty, Nibachibo your head.
There's this imprint of the body.
对身的这个印记要净化，所谓的印记就是我们串习，我们一直认为说那就是实有的，那就是我。
And you experience suffering and pain, illness in this body.
那我们身体接受的一种病痛的时候
you can see that, for example, when you dream, you still
除了
have
身
those
体之外呢，
imprints.
我们在做梦的时候
So
还有
in
这
the
种
dream, you have a dream body,
硬的串
and
习，
that dream body experiences
所以
all
我们
kinds
身
of
体
suffering and
的
pain.
睡梦
And
的
it's very
身体也有这
similar
种
to
经验，
when you die later. When you die, you will leave
在
this
我们死
material
亡的时候
body
也是很类似
behind.
的。
And
当
just
我
like in
们
your
离
dream,
开
you
这
will
个
bring
肉
this
身了，
imprint of your body with you,
但是我们
and you will
还
continue to
带着
experience
这个
similar kinds
肉
of
体的
suffering
这个
because you
印
have
记
this
这
imprint of the body. And therefore,
因
if
为
you
我们
practice
内
the
心的这个
deity,
印记还
you
在，
you are transforming this imprint into the
所以我
perception
们
of
在修
the
本尊
form
的
of
时
the
候，
deity.
我
So
们把
you're
我们对
actually,
肉身的这
by
种印
doing
记
that, you
转
are
化成这
separating
个本尊。
yourself from your body.
在这样子
Even though
做
you
的时候，
still
我们就
have this
把我们
body,
跟我们的肉体
you
分
know
开
that
了。
that's not me.
我们
And
知道说
that
这
is
个肉
because
体
the
并
deity
不
is
是真
always
正
in
的
your
我。
mind. And when
那我们
the
心中时
rainbow-like
时有
form
本
of the
尊，
deity is always present, that is when you have
那
actually
本尊时
attained
时刻刻
freedom
在我
of
们
the
心中
body.
出现。
And
那这就
so
是我们
that's
在可以得
the
到
meaning
身
of
体
this
方面的
empowerment.
自
So when you
由
really
了。
think about
透过这
the
个
meaning of
灌
each of
顶
these
呢，
empowerments, if you
我们
understand
能够
their
去
meaning, the benefits of that are just incredible. So just by knowing the purpose, the meaning of this empowerment, that itself is extremely powerful.
那能够有这样理解是非常具有威力的一种理解。
多劫、人巴、公所所、大内、罗拉、平东者、马吉、万格、一西切、木者、德瓦。
Vajra holder,
金刚持者
please heal
垂
me
念我
for the
为
benefit
利
of
有情
beings.
故
Please
请赐
grant
予
me
圆
the
满
great
一切成
wisdom
就
of the
之
mantra
大智
empowerment,
咒灌顶。
which is the source of all accomplishment. So that's the speech empowerment.
这就是与灌顶的七情文。
说不到像那啥说不就到刚刚生活的，一般人慢慢就了，你去就是刚刚生活的这把送，去生活的就把最下的从其他东西下的小，你刚刚生活的就把说出来这就把他他妈就没办法就我的记得都这里俺这个没把的说不下来从呢，这俺的记得这边搞的，人让个下的小，没把样得嘞，人让没把这了这里啷个看的有这七八的，把我的这里所说让俺记得这把的，让在这里让个哄给他了，这里俺的有的这都俺的这边可会有上，这都俺的费用这里的俺了扎东女的就把掐的有嘞，别人吃这些嘛，这里吃这个，你我些得掐着的，没多把些人是2-3口说了嘛，这里这都吃了你把吃饱的，这个你把那个这里这么大的扎上东西，这到这里你把结果的，俺这里做个样子嘛，俺扎个些用人这里，这个甚至怕脏嘛做的嘛的，所以做个样子要嘛的。对，俺这扎东西真把下东西来着。
So for the mantra empowerment or the speech empowerment, the visualization is that so you visualize. There's 2 parts to the visualization. One is that from the Vajra master's mouth emerges the mantra garland. And as you repeat the mantra, think that the garland then enters your mouth and then goes down to the seed syllable home in your heart. And then the second part is that also think that from space, a rain shower of seed syllables, of mantra syllables descend down. And as you then repeat the mantra, think that you have received the mantra garland, which then begins to circle around the Hung syllable. So then think that now the mantra circle is always there and it always circles around the Hung. And so what's the benefit of the mantra or the mantra recitation? So there are these imprints that we have. They're called the imprints of grasping, like thoughts that grasp at like we grasp at the conflation of thoughts and the actual object. So we kind of conflate the object that we see in our thoughts about them. And so, for example, when somebody says something to you, somebody says something nice to you, and immediately you're very happy and you're attached to that. And when somebody says something negative to you, then immediately you get really angry about it. So this is how powerful words are. And so they affect us negatively. And when you recite the mantra, through mantra, you realize the empty nature of sound. And then no matter how much anyone says or what anyone says, it will just not generate a feeling in you at all. No matter what is being said, nothing will affect you in one or the other way. And so that is the power of the mantra recitation. It purifies this imprint of speech. So there is no more grasping at sound or speech that you perceive. So that is the mantra empowerment.
这个就是咒语的灌顶。后边再配刚刚上师重复的3次，就是这个人间的咒语。
别的意思那位，俺个过年是不吃嘛，把钱在地上去把打，所以意思那话嘛，你把他，俺来上哈查东从就是把打完了完，这不容个这不干把记得谁把也弄的。
Being thus initiated, the karmic imprints and defilements accumulated with speech and all grasping them are purified, and you have received the complete speech empowerment. You are now empowered to recite the deity's secret mantra, the union of sound and emptiness. As a result, you will have the fortune to accomplish the Sambhogakaya.
本尊深空不二之密咒，并获得成就报身之加持。
나도 뒤지 똑방에 하마 책해 니 보라 차 머니 보당 이제 책배 책을 중자미당 무슨 세말 떠오르지 책을 받치 버리 그래서 일단 먼지만 딱 삼지 떠는 누마한테 세군 누마한테 미말 떠오르려 대도 좀 나바래지 또 많이 이래지 먼지는 잘은 먼지봐 잘은 좀 밤에 봐 마치 잡채송 Yes, apa jang semat ni dom dah sendiri kan dalam jiwa.
So we said here that the defilements of speech and all the grasping become purified through the speech empowerment, and so also that is this. It purifies these thoughts clinging to the conflation of thoughts and the true actual object. And so, as we said before, it is, for example, when you hear something nice, you become attached, and when it's unpleasant, you feel angry. And so, all of these fixations, this grasping in the mind, must become purified. So it is said that completely let go of all mental grasping at sound, and when grasping thought appears, recognize it's all impermanent, it's all empty, and I don't grasp at it. So if you don't grasp at sound, not grasping at sound is the samaya of mantra, of the speech empowerment. So through this empowerment, we have purified all previously accumulated fixation to speech, and also we prevent them from arising in the future. So do not grasp at sound.
所以我们不要去执着音声。
라강 나오는데 꼬라를 줬는데 많은 사야지오나 사야지들이 살펴보고 그래. 대그들이 정강 성공만 주반부도나 대통령의 주반부도요. 걔네들도 드라마티랑 하거든요. 제오만을 장성의 심지 탐지를 잡들이 되다. 심지 탐지를 되니 아다 로마로서 와다 예쁘도 변을 보상요 있는 노벨은 나남이 저도 심지 고명이 송구동에 쌓고요. 다른 것들 좀 채송 들이 소소 내랑gel로 제시도 10만 봐. 전부 사마등이지 바다 집에 10만 받잖아. 这哪个就都了过了，但这边了，常见人就云没去，甚至都云没去，大了我都云没去。云没去发生的就等等的上就对着嘛，民众就是我是没去，시간 뭐 줄을 수 말이 대회에서 나코를 총총대 나게 사타만 때 소남사파 탑다디 제발지래 때 소소게요 다 무시 나다만 도는 맛이 받을 영화에서 개발을 거들 때 무슨 저도 달랑칼 총총대 맛이 받을 여기 들이대대 화양 변종 제보 저들 르른 잡방신들이 야로 라고 매고를 잘했더니 나가 병원 참만 달린 요거요 니 병원실은 라고 총총대 대회들이 참만 나가 공당 인된다고 저 가사가라 라고 소다 잡대 여기 참만 라고 총총대 내가 리라는 배 창나 들이다 송화친 보라 콜라 프렌즈만 매근 통로는 뭐든지 손으로 동송을 그래서 병원 손남사부 탑 체발지 그리 주벌 홍담당 라라라코디 라게 깔레 마고산들이 수남소고 탑 센티네 페베 탑 랑게 수남소고 탑을
And for the mantra garland, it is explained that there are 9 major benefits, but for us 3 are most important, and that is to recognize that the mantra is the deity, and secondly, the mantra is an offering, and third, the mantra purifies the obscurations of sentient beings. So regarding the first one, the mantra is the deity, for example, within this little prayer wheel, many deities, as many mantras as there are, that many deities are contained. And with each rotation of that prayer wheel, all of these deities emanate outward. So for example, say this a wheel is filled with 4 million money mantras, then with each rotation, 4 million deities go outside and they go, for example, to the Pure Lands, or if you want to make offerings to the Buddhas in the Pure Lands, then they go to the Pure Lands. So then an infinite number of Tara and Shirizik go there to make offerings. And if you want to benefit sentient beings, then these deities pervade all the sentient beings in the 6 realms. And for example, this prayer wheel is filled with Tara, and Tara then fulfills all the wishes of sentient beings. It is said in this prayer, she brings the benefits of the Tara's applications. She brings a child to those who want a child, and wealth to those who want wealth, and protects from suffering and untimely death, and so on. And so then also spinning a prayer wheel, which is actually the meaning is the same as the mantra garland, also leads to the attainment of siddhis for yourself. So the spinning of the prayer wheel is an endless accumulation of attainment or siddhi for yourself. So for example, you can take a commitment thinking that I will spin a small prayer wheel for the rest of my life. And in this way, that becomes your support to attain siddhis. And by spinning a prayer wheel, all of the qualities of the mantra garland are accomplished. So by spinning the prayer wheel, you make offerings to the Buddhas, and so there is this 3 continuations, and that were spoken by Guru Rinpoche. And they said that the first one is the mantra becomes a continuous offering to all the Buddhas. Secondly, it becomes a continuous purification of sentient beings' obscurations. And third, it becomes a continuous attainment of siddhis, your own siddhis. And so then Guru Rinpoche said that the benefits of mantra will never cease to be, and they have never ceased to be. They have never kind of gone down, and they never will. So the power of mantra will always emerge, will always rise. So The power of mantra is accomplished by spinning this little prayer wheel, for
所以我
example.
们
It's a
这个
very
新的这个
special,
力量
skillful
都
means to
成就，也可以
accumulate a lot of
透过
merit.
要转经轮得到成就
So also
圆满。
in our opening prayer,
在我
is
们
the Dark
开始
Dharma.
的这个
It says, "I will practice
皈依发
virtue
心，
until I die, for as long as I live." And
我们一
that
开始有
could
这样子
be
直至
a
进行受
commitment, thinking that
的
until
道
I
理，就
die,
是在
for
这
as
里。
long as I live, I'm
在我
going to
们
spin a
我
small
们
prayer
在
wheel.
死亡之
The
前继
benefits
续的
are
来修
really
行，继续来
inconceivable.
摇着
And
转经轮
also,
等等。
when you spin it during the daytime, at nighttime, you
那比
can
如说，在
place
你
it
们
above your pillow, and then your awareness always
在
kind
你
of
白
goes
天在
there
摇
to
转
the
经
crown
轮，或者是晚
area
上睡觉的时候，
as
可以
you
把它
sleep.
放在枕头上，
So all the benefits of the
这样对
mantra
你
also
做梦
are
也有帮
accomplished
助。
through the prayer wheel. And that's also why I'm encouraging
所以我
everyone
们
to
10周的功
spin a
德
prayer wheel,
都
and
可以
that's also
在这
why
个
I'm
转经轮上
encouraging
面得到
disciples
圆满。
to
这就
produce
是
them.
为
There
什
are
么
many
我
different
这
workshops
个
that
鼓励
produce them
大
all over the
家
world
在
right now.
尽量
It's
用转经轮，
has so many benefits.
因
Or
为
for
它
example,
摇
if
转经
someone
轮有
has
这
a
么多
prayer
的
wheel
功德
on
利
them,
益，
also it is said that whoever only sees their prayer
所以
wheel
我
will
们讲
not be
说，即
born
使任何
in
众
the
生，只要
lower
他们见
realms.
到转经轮，
There's
就不
so
会可
many
以不受生到
inconceivable
三恶道
benefits,
当
and
中。
it's such a great merit to
这个
spin
是
a
多
prayer
大的
wheel.
这个功德啊！
So the
有这
prayer
么
wheel
好的
and
利益，
the visualization of the hung, which is also why
那
we print the hung
也可以
everywhere, like on the clothes, on the
对
t-shirts
种
and
子
so
智我
on.
们来
So
观想
these are
控
actually
制，
methods
就是
to
为什么要
accumulate
印很
great
多控制
merit with
的
the
卡
least
片。
difficulty and quite easily. And
这
so
个是
it's a
很
great
容易
way
就
to
可以得到
accumulate
很大
merit,
的
and
这个
also
功
it's a
德
great
的
way to
利益
benefit
的，
sentient beings.
不但是对利益自己，也可以利益一切众生。
못하는 무공가요래 무공가요는 나랑코르송네 못하는 나서는들이 겁나지는 뒤에서 못하다 삼해봐 날려랬대 차송데 무공가를 그냥 송마도 뭐 세는 갈 때도 뭐 랑코르도 송대도 나 못한 뒤서 지서 링거도 랑코르 송대도 왜 대다 그랬대 문이치는 제 체들은 대다 왜 좀들 제 소망한테 사지에 까는지 랑코르 통정도 뺏어납지 뭐 너를 죄인이고 그래. 남망을 죄인을 가려 샘을 죄디 이 샘디다 샘디 되는 줄 그러면 드리다라는 게 라코데 평 때리에 이런 뭐 나로서 소타비오래 드리데 왜 드리 주로 던질래 내가 그 라코 청송도 아침 모레 조요래.
And so regarding the benefits of having this small prayer wheel, I'm saying that because I have a personal experience. It's my own personal
那
experience.
有关于
Of
转
course,
经
it's
轮
also
摇
the
转
words
经
of
轮
the
的功德
Buddha,
利，我
but
本
it's
身有
also
很多
my
的
own
经
personal
验。
experience. For example, I always have this small prayer wheel on me, on my body. I never separate from it.
我
And
永
therefore,
远在身上有转
even
经
at
轮，
night when I dream
即使
of
晚上我在
the
睡
prayer
觉的
wheel.
时候，我也
Or
会
for
梦到
example, in the
转经轮。
past, some years ago, when I was back in Tibet, we were
有几
going on
年
a
前，
car
当我在
ride.
西藏
There
的
were
时候，
5
我
of
们
us in the
在
car,
车上，
and we had an accident, and the
那我们
car
有发生了意外。
flipped over and was completely flat. It was totaled. There was
那
nothing
我
much
们
left
的
of the car.
车子
And
翻滚了好多圈，
nothing
基
at
本
all
上是完
happened
全毁坏
to
的。
any of the 5 passengers in the car, all
但
of
是
us.
车上的5个乘
So
客并没有
when
发
the
生什么
accident
样的损
happened,
伤。
what happened in my mind? What did I think during the
那
accident?
在这个事情发
Actually, I
生
don't
的
even
时候，我
remember
心里
what I
在
was
想
thinking.
什
All
么
I
呢？
was thinking is the prayer wheel. I just didn't want
我
anything
所
to
想
happen to
到
it, so
的
I held on to it.
只
But I
想
don't
到
really
我的
remember the
转经
car
轮不想
accident
要这
itself.
个
And
转经轮受
that
到
really
损
was a
伤。
sign that that really protected our lives. And
那
then if
这个
it
念头
protects
事
us
实
in
上
such
也
a
就保
way,
护了我
even
们
in
的
this
生命。
life, then clearly it will be a great protection for future lives.
那
So
如果
it
在
is
此
also
世
the
他
word
给
of
我
the
们带来
Buddha,
这样大
and
的保护，
so
在
you can
很
see the
明显的
prayer
在
wheel
来
has so
世也
many
可以
great
带给我们很
blessings.
多的保护。
So in brief,
所以简
the
而言
reason
之，
also why we spin a prayer wheel is because
我们为什么
then the
要摇
mind
转经
is
轮？
always there. The mind is
我们的
always
心都
focused. And whatever the mind
专注在
thinks
这个
of,
转
this
经
is
轮
what
上
the mind will become.
当我们心所想的，我们就变成那样子。所以，那我在车祸的当下，我只想到整经人。所以在这样子无形中保护的这个车上的5个乘客，这就是为什么我摇一个小的准经人，有很大的功德利益的。
도지 zemba 공처서 다네 로라平东者바wo 도지 로풍지 롬초 땡지 지저소.
And then for the mind empowerment, please repeat. Vajra holder, please heed me for the benefit of beings. Courageous Vajra master,
金刚持者垂念我，为利有情故，勇猛金刚上师，请令殊胜意至三摩地升起。
把我多接受不接受，他这人爱吃错了，玩过会有的，我多接受不热的，你呢？就是我主要是想把我白的，是吧？我都把我引走了，好的，包括是新可能这些没法还好有的，新可能这些没法还可能这里，家人没这个呢，来就别搞情况了，就别大家呢，把这那下人有的，给完了给完他嘛。大不习惯，没给完，他们你个上升，下个的来准备的搞这钱的时候的，把我生活的这些面那样，你准备搞这钱之后，那得管谁个东西。
So in that supplication we supplicated the courageous Vajra master. So I'm today your Vajra master conferring you the empowerment.
我今天我是你们的这个金刚上师，给予你们这个灌顶。
You want to ask me, so are you really brave? Are you really courageous?
那或许你会问，你真的很勇敢的吗？很有勇气吗？
I'm really brave. I'm really
我
courageous
是很勇敢的。
I know that the mind does not die and it's not born.
我知道心是不死的。
And therefore I'm not afraid of anything. I'm fearless. And yet, even though I'm fearless, I consider karma extremely carefully because I know, because the mind cannot die, that the karmic visions will continue to manifest in the bardo. So if there are virtuous imprints in my mind, then the Pure Lands will manifest, and if the imprints are negative, then the lower realms will manifest.
那如果我们的内心的印记是净土，这个往生净土，如果我们有其他这个烦恼的印记，有可能受损到三恶道当中。我们要知道我们的业是超越生死的。
The recognition of the deathless mind made my conscientiousness and my kind of care. My attention for karma even more careful. So what I'm afraid of, there's one thing I'm afraid of, and that is evil, negative actions.
那就不要去做。
영화 이서도 라파산도 지고 동도 예미도 잡으면 우놈지가 다 뜨는 녀바 고도 예 아들이 남가니 바이크 동동과 아마리 찾등 찾아봐는 이 보는들이 심진 처럼 따오대 현들이 잡지쳐도 예미바 차서서 이따 전에 고도들이 전에 깨적들었더니 남번 조선 돈이 아이고 내로만 줘 거래 니까니 죽지 모래 되게 말을 틀려 왔다 상마지 받으려고 해서 개발을 거드는 그 상통도 다 왔딩은 전에 보면 되게 성만 뒤에 바로 공부 요사 내가 다 통제 나도 다 생딩을 야나 그래서 저 사제 담지는 냠도 진냠자 타고 요래 다자거든요 원인은 요로지
So now you've so visualize that from space right on blue hung syllables have descended down like rain falling down and have permeated, dissolved into all sentient beings and melted their ice block like mind, and they have become indivisible from the ocean like Buddha mind. So then now next at this point we meditate in this ocean like vast state of Buddha mind. So if you know how to practice shamatha, calm and abiding, in an instant, place yourself in this full state of meditation and just settle in the natural state. And then now we just practice this one time, but you should practice this each and every day. And so this develops into what we call the view of vipassana. So through shamatha, you are sustaining the view of vipassana. And until you attain enlightenment. So you practice this until you attain enlightenment. So now we practice this one time and then you continue it on a regular daily basis. And so when you hear this sound of the gong, then think that all thoughts disappear and rest within this thought-free state, which is the meditative state of all the Buddhas of the three times. So you're going into this meditative state of all the Buddha's mind. So now when you hear the gong sound, then place your mind at once into the state of emptiness.
磬的声音的时候，马上进入这个无念的状态当中。
那这个国上头王，国上头各山东扎东土沙东子，这个国上头王多么是不是哈过了？这里在王座了，这个王座他们这个东西吧了，这里在他们这。拉比较说的王他们这个啥啊？伊那个他们这王人他这个嘛我有的，也是叫送考过有的，没推咱们。你咋个他们这他让人觉得你不上班的年纪啊，马上不会把人这曾经他们这里觉得，现在我们这里上班的年纪，对他们的教育嘛的，大的生意啦说过了这里那个不了。不但从我这里上这有的，别知道上这里上种生活的，这刚来了这里，学堂王的嘛说话，这里以前就王的嘛叫这切了当忙的东，这里这个忙呢，夸张那边甚至他们这刚了这样有话，这到了甚至他们把这话这叫有嘛的上，你怎么觉得这还好说这哪里面甚至他们就看有嘛的，那夸到的。你多当个多年，挂什么多年？这到到这让我们到松上，你对我这里来人差了多少？这多年到这里是参加进去大的，差了多少？我就把多进仓库了这种，这多这里多了的到这出去还轰的轰的，轰的过呢，让你这里身那都一都没把让你差的有的。那多他们这到找的哈过了的呢，他在这边都用的，这样没什么了的去了的，那多他们这到找个干的了，这让我是说我这什么年，这让的大把个这样变成花大不差有的，这种没办的，大这种找啊，那个这种让有咋这的没办有的，我这种人民就在那做。사족선 뛰는 것도 사족선 같이 가래 사마당이지 같이 가래 드리테르가 기준이나 요래데 지나 라테서 오래 근데 소저나 욕바 상제당 상촉 선바 탐제다라 공소설 로병다라 공소설大人的兄弟，这是上冲宁波啦，记者发的，拉上了多的，一旦这啥东西，这也是嘛，你呢就是，就是知道了就。
So we have received the 3 levels of empowerment.
我们已经得到了3层的灌顶。
So that is the essence of these 3 empowerments is
这3个层的灌顶的
empty appearances for form, empty sounds for speech, and empty mind.
空有不二，闲有不二，因空不二。
And then lastly, we come to the samaya of the empowerment, which is the life force of the empowerment. And as we said before, 100 deities have a single root samaya. And of course, each deity, each empowerment has their own individual branch samaya. But it's very difficult for us to keep, for anyone really, to keep all of these branch samayas.
很多的这个枝节枝干的三昧耶，对我们来讲是很难持守的。但有一个我们必须要持守的，就是根本的三昧耶。所谓的根本三昧就是慈心跟悲心。就好像一个母亲慈爱她的子女一般。
Because they have a mind. Whoever has a mind has love and has compassion, at least to some extent. For example, even a lion or a tiger, they have love for their offspring or for their companions. And the essence of that love, essentially, it is really bodhicitta. So therefore, do not allow it to become destroyed by anger or by any other emotion. And cultivate it each and every day and make it stronger and stronger. And start with the love that you feel for someone that you love the most, and then think that every sentient being has been such a one. And when you become free of self-grasp, you realize that, and through love you become free of self-grasping, you realize that you are actually never separate from sentient beings. We are all just like space. So finally it leads to an actual experience of emptiness on the ultimate level. For now it is an understanding of emptiness. And so in any case, think that I must not transgress this root samaya. And that is the samaya of the mind, which is significant because Vajrapani is a deity of the mind, of the Buddha's mind. And therefore, he also represents the view or the state of Mahamudra. Vajrapani and also Vajradhara or Jakasambhara and so forth. And to summarize it all the samaya into one, it is to meditate on the home. If you just meditate on the home, then naturally there will be no thought in your mind. And naturally you rest in the natural state of your mind. And regarding that, it is said in the Mahamudra teachings, without a single thought, decisively look at your true nature. So when you are in a state of no thought, look at your mind in this moment, the natural state of your mind. And that is what is called the view. The view is the knowing of your true nature without any doubts. So the view is to be free of any doubts. And so that is what needs to be recognized, and then it needs to be habituated on an ongoing basis. And it is habituated if you cultivate bodhicitta. And of the two kinds of bodhicitta, the most important one for us is the relative bodhicitta. And that essentially is love and compassion. So now please repeat the samaya.
接下来请大家来持守这个重复参拜耶的誓文。
has their own samaya, as we will just repeat now. But whatever it says, what's most important is the root samaya, which is love and compassion. Then please repeat all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, reciting in the 10 directions. Please heed me, Master.
十方诸佛菩萨垂念我，金刚上师垂念我，从今日直至获证菩提，我自己的名字是Vajrapani
as my yidam,
尊胜的金刚手菩萨为本尊，每天尽力持诵其心咒。 殊胜菩提心要宝，未生起者愿生起，已生起者不退失，其愿辗转更增上。谢谢各位法友，祝各位法友长寿。
Dhamma friends are so happy
各位法
to
友，
see
我很
your
开心。
beautiful faces. And
那么
what
见
we
到
are
你们
seeing
很
when we
漂
see
亮
each other
的
on the
脸孔，
screen, we are
我从
seeing
荧幕
our
上看到
real
你们。
self. You are really seeing us. So don't think it's not real because it's just
虽
a
然你
screen.
只是透过荧幕
But this
看
is
到
how
我，
we
你
really
内
see
心要
each
知道
other.
说你是
And
真正见
we
到。
hear our actual voice. And it's
我们
the
真
real
正
voice,
听
it's the
到的
real
音
body
声，
because you can always see it, you can always hear it. It's
你
beyond
可以
birth
见
and
到，可
death.
以听
You
到，
can always again listen to it and so on. The
而
physical
且
body,
之后
pay no
在网
attention
络
to
上
it.
你可以
It's
反复的来
impermanent.
听。
It's not real.
不要认为说我们透过网络就不是一个真实的经验。谢谢仁波切，谢谢各位。现在应该是 Khenpo 三度在讲话。之前有法友讲到说，可不可以给那个贡曼达的文跟那个七支供养？那我会分别发给燕分师姐乙跟R师兄，他们可以在普贤云或者种种这个管道跟大家分享。那对于今天这个电脑的问题，再次跟各位道歉，也谢谢 Ben 师兄及时的这个来帮忙翻译。谢谢各位的这个僧团来加入我们这个法教。仁波切给我们一个非常重要的这个非常甚深的一个灌顶。
Thanks to Rinpoche all the Sangha's behalf. We really need the Vajrapane empowerment and the teaching for due to this and this time in the world.
在这个困难的世界上这么困难，我们真的很需要金刚手菩萨的灌顶，所以代表所有的这个僧团感谢仁波切。
And right now we have due to the disease.
由于我们的新冠肺炎在全世界这么严重，这个众生受到无比的痛苦，我们需要来净化我们这个业，净化我们的痛苦。所以我们才祈求这一个灌顶。谢谢上师，谢谢各位的僧团分子，各位法友。
Thank you, Tujeche Rinpoche, long life Rinpoche.
谢谢仁波切，祝仁波切长寿。